tremendous day in Southern California. 85 degrees, clear and sunny at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium, where for the first time this season the Seahawks meet the Chargers. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Criqui with a former Charger, Paul Maguire. Both of these teams, despite poor records, come in with outstanding defenses, both top 10 defenses. In fact, the Chargers have the number 4 defense in the entire National Football League. But both clubs need big plays and some offense, Paul, to get on track.
Yesterday we talked to Tom Flores and Bobby Ross, and the first thing they said to us, in order to win this football game, or at least have a chance to win this football game, is that the offense must get out right away and score. Not wait to score. The first team that scores 7 points, not 3 points, has a pretty good chance of winning this football game.
And they both feel it's a pivotal game. Now, San Diego comes in with an 0-4 record. If they can win this, they get into some pretty easily scheduling coming up in the weeks ahead. But an 0-5 start is almost impossible to come back from with any semblance of respectability. The starting quarterbacks are young and relatively inexperienced, but they do have a lot of long arm ability, and that's what they're going to be looking to today to try to hit some big plays. Kelly Stauffer on the left making his start again today for Seattle. Stan Humphries, the former Redskin, Paul, going for the Chargers.
And you're absolutely right. They've got to get the ball downfield. Both of them are going to come out and try to run the football and establish a run, but they do have to throw the ball. And by that I mean way downfield. We're not talking about these little dump passes, Crick. We're talking about 50-yarders.
Yeah, they want the big play. And as you pointed out, Paul, to get on the scoreboard first. The Seahawks will kick it off. John Casey approaches the ball. He'll bang it with the left foot. Deep man back is Nate Lewis for the Chargers. It carries short, and this looks like Eric Bieniemy. Now, this is Ronnie Harmon taking it at the 17-yard line, and he is out to the 19. So good. Special teams coverage, a hallmark of the Seattle teams. And the San Diego Chargers will start an offense inside their 20. There's Stan Humphries, starting quarterback for the Chargers. He's thrown for 1 touchdown and 8 interceptions. Butts his big runner. Miller and Lewis, the wideouts. They go with a couple of tight ends. One they call an H-back. Derek Walker and Dwayne Young in their power running game. Derek Dodd shaken up as we look at the offensive line for the Chargers. Harry Swain has a big job today. He's been one of their best players, but he has to take on the great pass rushers from the outside backer position, Rufus Porter. And Moten, the left guard for the Chargers, he gets number 99, emerging as one of the best defensive players in the NFL. Great tackle Cortez Kennedy for the Seahawks. So Dedrick Dodd seems to be all right. Charger offense comes out. Stan Humphries, a big, strong quarterback, 6'2", 235 pounds. Was with the Redskins last year in their championship season. Came in a trade after their starter John Freeze was hurt in the preseason. To the power run, and Butts, both arms on the ball, doesn't get much. Seattle comes after him. Jeff Bryant, Joe Nash, 2 veterans make the stop. And as we look at the Seahawks on defense, Bryant back at left end had some injury problems earlier. Nash, Cortez Kennedy, and Tony Woods up front. Good backers in Wooden, Wyman, and the pass rusher Rufus Porter. They'll go with a lot of defensive backs at times under the Tom Catlin regime. Defensive backs Harper, Hunter, Blackman, and Robinson start. On the dime coverage, they'll be joined by Davis, Glasgow, and Dodge. They'll go to 7 DBs at times. On second down, Chargers go back to the run, go to the power game. Straight ahead goes Marion Butts, and he's close to the 25-yard line, which will bring up 3rd down and 4.
Cortez Kennedy is the big man in the middle of the Seattle line. Now watch Cortez Kennedy. He is there. He is double teamed by Moten and by Courtney Hall. Courtney Hall ends up on Cortez Kennedy, but you better put 2 people on him. You can see he makes the play.
Seattle, the one time they had real problems this season, they really should have won last week. Miami came back with a late touchdown to beat them at the Kingdome. As 3rd down now, and extra wide receivers come out. But the power running game of Kansas City was too much for Seattle. Here's a jump offside. Free play. Rufus Porter. They'll get the 1st down and more on the play, as it was indeed, Paul, a free play. Rod Bernstein swinging out, number 82.
Well, one of the things that San Diego told us they're going to try to do this week with Rod Bernstein is this. They're going to play him at the H-back because he does have excellent hands, and they're going to try to get the ball to him downfield and let him try to do some damage afterwards. Seattle Seahawks, they were offside. Now, on the right of the screen, Rod Bernstein is number 82. He's the guy that's out the pattern. He runs a flat out to the outside, picks up the 1st down. There's no chance there. Harper was there, but Bernstein had already picked up the 1st down. you know, sometimes we up here, we know that flag is thrown in free play. You just wonder sometimes if the quarterback involved in the game can see that flag or see the guy offside and know he has a chance.
Back to Marion Butts, and he takes it at the right side of the Seahawk defense. Tony Woods, number 57, and Cortez Kennedy, the lead tacklers on the play. There's Cortez, who just been playing great football, and this is third year.
Rufus Porter, Cortez Kennedy, and Tony Woods. They're all there. Look at this. Of course, we know Butts is a load, but with those three guys, you need some help.
Ronnie Harmon now comes in the backfield, a specialist at catching passes out of the backfield. On second down and 11, long ball, man is open. He's under the ball, and the Chargers have the big play early. Anthony Miller on the fly, and he's in the end zone, and the Chargers hit the 67-yard scoring play.
Didn't we talk about you had to throw the ball downfield? All right. Anthony Miller, who's been doubled all year long. Patrick Cutter's going to be there. Eugene Robinson, 41, is never going to get over. Here he is. Anthony Miller just outruns the defense, and touchdown.
Only his 13th catch of the year, his first for his touchdown, and the longest play of the season for the San Diego Chargers, as their game plan was to strike early, and they did, as they go up on the Seahawks 7-0. Chargers on the 5th play of the game, strike deep. That's the man, Anthony Miller, a former first-team All-Pro back in '89 when he caught 75 passes for almost 1,300 yards. Since then, he struggled against double coverage. Today, he got singled up, as Paul Maguire pointed out, ran the hitch and go, and Stan Humphries was right on the mark. A 67-yard scoring play.
The first thing Bobby Ross said to us when he sat down, he said, we have to score early and 7 points, not 3. And they just did it.
The Chargers had gone 10 quarters without scoring a touchdown prior to that one. They've not scored in 2.5 games a touchdown. Rufus Mays now runs it back for the Seahawks. Dives across the 20, and a marker is fired in. And there could be a holding or illegal block call against the Seattle Seahawks on the return. Seahawks have had good success against San Diego. They've beaten them pretty regularly in the recent years, have won 12 of the last 15.
Illegal block in the back, number 30 on the receiving team. First down.
So Coach Flores seeing things he doesn't like to see early in the game, as his team is now set back to its 10-yard line.
Well, especially when your offense is struggling and you're playing against the number 4 defense in the National Football, it gets very difficult to come from behind.
Stoffer with a long count on first down and 10 to the run. Junior Seau was looking to run all the way, as this All-Pro player from Southern California shoots the gap and makes the tackle for a gain of less than a yard.
Yeah, the only problem is no one even blocked Junior Seau. 55 is Seau. Watch, the guard pulls Seau's in the backfield. Nobody blocks him. If you don't block him, you don't make the tackle.
Stoffer with Chris Warren, his best runner. John L. Williams now a receiver and a blocker. Clark and Thomas the wideouts. Ray Roberts, a rookie, starts at left tackle. Hitchcock starts for the injured Ronnie Lee at right tackle for the Hawks. Stoffer on second and 9. He goes deep, and he gets a man almost picked off, though. Tony Blaylock, who was coming from off the play at the right corner, came all the way across. And while Lewis Clark stood there waiting for the ball, it was indeed almost picked off by the defender.
I blame this on Kelly Stoffer. Now, the reason I do that, watch Stoffer when he goes back. He just lays the ball out instead of firing it in there. Look at it. The ball's up in the air, and it's lofted. It gives Blaylock time to get there. If you look, Clark is open. All he had to do was gun it. If he guns it there, he's got the first down.
Bert Grossman, Paul, from left end, got a big rush on Stoffer there just as he released the ball. So now Kelly Stoffer and the Seahawks have to hit a 3rd down and 9 plays. Draw play. Nothing there. John L. Williams runs the draw. Leslie O'Neal wasn't fooled. Number 91 stayed home and making the stop.
Well, you know, you say, well, why don't the Seahawks do something to go downfield, Crick? You know, you're early in the ball game. Granted, you're 1-3 going into this football game, but you don't play stupid early in the ball game. You're only down 7 points in this game. They've got a pretty good defensive football team. Hope that they can do something.
Rick Tootin steps into the ball. The enemy is back for the Chargers.
What a hit.
Big hit drives the enemy back to his 30. Hawks bring their coverage down. The enemy tries to turn it up, and he'll go out of bounds at the 34-yard line. A 59-yard punt by Rick Tootin. And a 7-yard return. Chargers go back on offense when we come back to San Diego.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Pontiac and your nearby Pontiac dealers. We are driving excitement. By Little Caesars Pizza, where you always get 2 great pizzas for 1 low price. By the Diamond Anniversary Band. This year, tell her you'd marry her all over again. And by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold.
Bobby Ross, who wanted a big play early and got one. Humphreys to Anthony Miller, 67 yards and a touchdown. Now his Chargers have the ball for the 2nd time in the game and a 7-0 lead. Humphreys 2 of 2 for 75 yards throwing. He goes back to Marion Butts. Seahawks hunting the ball as they pound at it, but Marion Butts keeps working his way into the defense and finally gets ahead for a gain of almost 7 yards.
Well, you know, when you talk about Marion Butts being a load, when he runs in there, you just have to count the guys that take a shot at him, Crick. I mean, here comes Butts. Watch this. Now, watch the number of guys that gets a piece of him. He hits his own man there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's another one of his own men, 6 and 7.
He's run it 4 times for 13 yards. Now 5 times. Marker down. Butts upfield. If the play goes, he has a 1st down, but there could be a motion against the San Diego Chargers, who come in with an 0-4 record. Seahawks are 1-3. They beat New England 10-6. Indianapolis evening its record today at 2-2 with a win at Tampa Bay.
Well, the one thing about Butts when he runs the ball, whichever way he goes, whether it's up the middle, left or right, he will deliver a blow. You want to deliver a blow on Butts, but he will deliver one on you, and he can't wait to hit you. He punishes defensive people.
And as we pointed out earlier, that was a problem, Paul, that the Seahawks.
The motion man was moving forward. Still 2nd down.
Johnny Greer, the referee. Derek Walker was in motion early. So instead of a 2nd and short, they now go to 2nd down and 8, the Chargers.
I want to let Johnny know about something. If the guy was going backwards, it wouldn't have been in motion. See, forward is motion. How are we doing?
I'll accept that. Let's see where they go to now. Humphreys, his confidence up. Seahawk corners playing way off the wide receivers. Humphreys dumps it up the middle. This is Anthony Miller again. Fine footwork takes him close to a 1st down. Be very close. He might have it. Anthony Miller, a standout from Tennessee, a former #1 draft choice, who, as we mentioned, was a 1st-team All-Pro in 1989 when he caught 75 passes, 10 for touchdowns, almost 1,300 yards receiving that year. But his production has tailed off since. Was in the end zone for the 1st time this season earlier today.
They did on that last play, Crick, is they put Ronnie Harmon out wide on Patrick Hunter. 1-on-1 coverage on the outside. And then they took and put Miller in the slot and just ran him underneath a short pattern. Got him about a 6-yard play, and then he picked up the rest on his own. Now Humphreys is taking timeouts. He doesn't like what he sees.
San Diego, number 1.
Dan Humphreys is seeing something he didn't like, Paul. And here's his coach coming over to check him out.
It's a good move, too, Crick, because if you're not sure, you want to take a timeout, get things set. You've got a 7-0 lead. It's early in the game. You have a 1st and 10. You just don't want to make a mistake.
Next Sunday, NFL football continues on NBC Sports with an action-packed doubleheader beginning at 9:30 Pacific time with NFL Live. Then Emmitt Smith and the NFC's leading ground gainer The Dallas Cowboys will take on the Seattle Seahawks, and in the second game of our doubleheader, Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas lead the NFL's most explosive offense into LA to collide with the Raiders. Check your local listings, but today it's Miami with the most explosive offense, having defeated Buffalo on the Bills' home field 37-10. Marino hitting 21 of 33 for 282 yards and 3 touchdowns. His counterpart Jim Kelly intercepted 4 times. Did you see the head defensive coach of the Seahawks, Tom Catlin, looking on? First down Chargers, and San Diego leads 7-0. Butts working hard on the Padres infield. Taken down right about where they lead off from first base.
You know, when you watch a play like this, you see the guys make the play. Number 29, who is Dwayne Harper, he's the guy that forces Butts to go back inside where all the people are. When you look to the right of the screen, you're going to see number 29. He does not make the tackle. He's a corner coming up. But watch what he does. You see him right there? He turns Butts back inside. He gets help from his friends. He doesn't have to make the tackle. He just makes a good play.
And here's a penalty marker coming in, thrown by the umpire, almost certainly a holding call against the San Diego Chargers. And a second down and 8 play.
Toffelmeyer, the center for Seattle, is in getting x-rays. It's a shoulder injury. And Seattle, they got enough guys hurt.
They've really had a battle of attrition.
Holding, 77, offense. Still second down.
Eric Moten, you expect him to hold, though. He's got to try and stop Cortez Kennedy.
Left guard. Here he is, 77 on Kennedy. But he's not on Kennedy. He just gets off of the play and moves back in. And Joe Nash, he just grabs him and throws him to the ground.
This Cortez Kennedy has ability and a style of playing very reminiscent of the great Steeler Joe Green. So quick, he's almost unblockable. So strong, he takes on double teams and busts them open. Humphrey on second down, he hits the open man. On a second down and 18 play, he throws the ball over the middle, makes the connection to Anthony Miller again.
Well, they put him in motion, Anthony Miller, and then they dump him off coming across the middle. They're backing up deep. Cortez Kennedy is going to get doubled. Courtney Hall is there. Moten's there. There's the double team there.
This guy's something, isn't he?
Oh, he is awesome. And then watch Anthony Miller. He'll just come back underneath. He's in motion, comes back underneath. He's wide open there. Tackles Dave Wyman, number 92, is going to be able to help out. Third down and 5.
But Miller, Paul, putting up those all-pro numbers of a few years ago. He's caught 3 for 89 yards already, 1 for a touchdown. Nate Lewis breaks it. He's in the open field for the moment and knocked out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Dwayne Harper finally got him. It looked like Nate Lewis might go the distance.
Dedrick Dodge, number 33, is the man that was playing on the outside. They gave Lewis all kinds of room. He has got some sore ribs. He is not 100%. But Humphries gets this ball to the outside. Dedrick Dodge, number 33, comes up to make the play. And look, you've got to make the tackle. You've got to make the tackle. Excuse me, Dodge is the second guy to miss him. Brian Davis, number 34, is the guy that missed him first. I don't want to blame guys that don't make the tackle.
No, can't do that.
That's right.
Chargers 0-4, but their 4 opponents they lost to have a combined record starting the day of 12-4 as Nate Lewis on the reverse turns it upfield. Penalty marker is down. A lot of mistakes early. There have been 5 penalties thrown.
But what a beautiful play by Tony Woods, number 57, the right end. I mean, he just made a super play to get out there and make the tackle. And another penalty against the Chargers. Oh, when you're struggling, penalties will drive you crazy. It's one of the things the quarterback was. Stan Humphries told us. First of all, drop passes and then penalties.
Holding, 83, offense. Still first down.
Humphrey said we've lost to 3 playoff teams from last season. We moved the ball on every one, but killed ourselves with penalties. Bobby Ross, who turned the program around at Maryland, then did it at Georgia Tech, and is now moving into the 5th game of a 5-year contract. Press has started to get down on Bobby here, but everywhere he's ever been as a head coach, he's been a big winner. He does have NFL experience, was the special teams coach at Kansas City before he went back into college as a head coach. Butts, big, quick, nicely done tackle. Coming up to slice him down was the strong safety, Robert Blackman of the Seahawks.
Well, Robert Blackman, I mean, made the play. The only place you really want to tackle Butts when you're that small going against Butts, and that's right at his ankles. I mean, he just knocks his legs out. Here comes Butts up into the hole. But watch this. Watch Blackman, number 25. Right underneath. Bang. That's it. See, here the Chargers would have been second in about 6. Now, they're second in almost 15 because of a holding penalty.
Second and just over 14 to go for the first down. San Diego moving on the Seattle defense, though, as Ronnie Harmon tries to take it on a draw play straight ahead. Staying right there to get him with linebacker Terry Wooden, number 90, a fourth-year player out of Syracuse, whose brother's a top player at Syracuse, a wide receiver.
Well, Wooden was there, but when you look at Harmon, he just slipped just before he made the cut. Wood made a great play, but Harmon did slip. Now you're looking at a 3rd and 14. This is one of the things, again, you talk about penalties, it kills a team that's struggling.
Chargers have converted their previous 2 third downs for first downs. This is a long one. Humphreys against the big rush. Gets away from it for the moment. He's got room to run. Lost the ball. Looks like San Diego kept the ball. Leo Goaz might have been the man who got it. Or Robert Blackman.
Robert Blackman knocks the ball out.
He knocked it free.
Yeah, he stayed with Humphreys. Now, first of all, he's forced out of the pocket there by Rufus Porter. Now, watch Blackman. He just not only hits, but he strips the ball. Hits him right in the arm, knocks the ball out. Chargers are fortunate to get it back. Now they're going to try a field goal of about 49 yards.
The last time these two teams played last November in this stadium, the man who's trying this one, John Carney, kicked a 54-yarder to beat the Seahawks, 17-14. 49-yard try. Hits it well. Drives it straight down the field and knocks it through from 49 yards out. So the Chargers, who wanted to start fast, continue that fast start with a 10-0 lead. Earlier today, some problems here in the stands. What's the crowd scattering from? It's not Freddie on Elm Street. It's a skunk that lives in the stadium that got out.
Yeah, Bob Costas.
And we all knew it. We all knew it. It really let go. And but there's actually some people thought that the skunk was let go in the stands. But the guy was telling me there's a family of them that lives here that usually, if you leave them alone, they leave you alone. Apparently, one came out to look around this morning, not realizing it was game day.
Well, the one problem was that the skunk didn't have a ticket. See, they do check that, and if you don't have a ticket, now they were talking about San Diego stinking out the stadium, you know, 0-4. Well, let me tell you what, they are not stinking it out today. They are playing very well, but this is still the first quarter.
The kickoff after the Chargers' second score of the day to extend their lead to 10-0 carries deep into the end zone, and Reuben Mays will not bring it out. And so it will now come out to the 20-yard line for the Seahawks. They'll go 1st and 10. San Diego hoping to develop the fan support that the Seahawks enjoy. One of the great followings in the National Football League. Supports the Seahawks for every game. The Kingdome packed, 77,000 plus. The Chargers, if they don't win, the people don't show here in San Diego. There's Grant Fiesel in its center. Joe Toffelmeyer, as Paul pointed out, banged up his shoulder earlier. It downfield, but his tight end can't hold. Ron Heller had the ball in his fingertips, and the sheriff, number 24, Stanley Richard, a hard-hitting free safety, knocked it free.
Boy, was that a great play by Stanley Richard. I mean, he just timed that thing perfectly. There was no chance for Ron Heller to catch his ball because he's got his arm in there, and it hits him. You're talking about Stauffer. He had plenty of time to throw the ball. Look at that hit. Right when the ball got there, that's perfect.
Not much happening on offense, Paul, for the Seahawks.
2 yards? That's not much.
2 yards offense. Throwing the ball. Ellie Stauffer is 0 for 2. See the total yards. And it's reflected on the scoreboard where the Chargers lead early 10-0. Chris Warren turns it. Gets upfield across the 25-yard line, and he's out of bounds at the 26. Run out of bounds by the cornerback, number 22, Gil Bird.
Seattle is just trying to get something established here, and they're trying to get San Diego out of jamming up in the middle. They know that they don't have the wide receivers to catch the ball. I mean, they've been hurting all year long. So that time what they did is they ran a toss to Chris Warren to try to get him to the outside and maybe open up the defense a little bit. But 2 yards, and they've only had the ball twice, but they will get some things moving, but they've got to try to establish something to the outside to get San Diego out of that jam defense.
3rd and 4. Stauffer takes a look at the out pattern, goes to Lewis. Clark hits him for a first down at the 35, and there's a penalty marker in.
Well, there were 3 guys on Clark, number 84.
Tony Blaylock, 37, was right with him. He made the first hit.
Well, there's holding against the Chargers. I like it when, like, Carrington, number 29, for San Diego, he's the first guy.
Holding.
See?
37 defense. It's declined.
Tony Blaylock.
First down.
But Carrington is the guy to let us know up here. There's always a guy on the team that will tell you when there's holding. All right, Blaylock, here he is. Now he's on Clark. Nothing there. That's the holding right there. You cannot make the contact downfield. And the worst part about it is the receiver makes the play afterwards anyway.
And that ball was the first down of the game for the Seahawks. Play fake to Warren. Stauffer looking for the out man, and he gets the ball over, but it's incomplete handed to John L. Williams coming to the near side. So Stauffer play fake, tried to get the defense moving left, and then came back to the near side. Seahawks covering a lot of ground, and Leslie O'Neal put the pressure on Kelly Stauffer.
Yeah, you try and run a bootleg to Leslie O'Neal's side. He is a very smart player. He's been around a long time. He has seen it all. He did not take the fake. And when Stauffer came out, standing there is Leslie O'Neal. Made him throw the ball wide to the outside.
Second and 10, a draw play. Warren, nothing doing. Leslie O'Neal, 6-year pro from Oklahoma State. One of what defensive coordinator Bill Arnsberger calls his core players, having a terrific year, and as you see, he wears the captain's label.
If Chris Warren, when he sees this play, it just looked like from up here, and it's easy for us. If he runs to the, look at the right of the screen. If he runs to his left here, he has some help blocking. They just blocked Leslie O'Neal down into the play. If he cuts back to his left, he might have had a chance to pick up a few yards.
Third down. They need 9 to the Seahawks. 3 wide receiver set. Backpedal by Stauffer. Here comes the rush. He eludes it.
Got room.
He does indeed have room, and Stauffer slides ahead for a first down for the Seahawks. Almost had him, and then showing some good mobility, Stauffer outran the defense and got ahead for 11 yards and a first down.
Oh, and when you take a look, Leslie O'Neal coming back from the outside, almost gets a hand on him right here. He can't get to him. Leslie O'Neal, look at him. He comes back. He's chased him. Now, Stauffer, when he goes downfield, Rob Thomas, number 86, is just going to get in the way downfield. There he is. He got in the way of Seahawks. Didn't want to hit him, just wanted to get in his way. Did the job. Stauffer picks up the first down.
Seahawks down 10-0. Now go first down and 10. This is John L. Williams trying the counter run and trying to cut back. And again, we have Leslie O'Neal on the tackle along with the other defensive end, 92, Bert Grossman.
It just looks like the 2 defensive ends are converging on each other. Grossman, 92, coming from the left, and Leslie O'Neal, 91, coming from the other side. Look at this. There they are. They're both there. Grossman is being blocked, but he still gets up and makes the play. You better slow down these defensive ends, because these are the guys who are getting penetration. They're jamming things in the middle. That's why you saw that toss a little while ago. Seattle's got to get the ball to the outside because they're jamming everything in the middle.
First quarter winding out, 30 seconds to play in it. 8th play of the drive coming up for the Seahawks. Out pattern, connection. Lewis Clark breaks it. First down and more for the Hawks as he's inside the 40 and down to the 36-yard line.
Poor tackling by Gilbert. I mean, you've got to make that play. If the guy's going to catch the ball in front of you, you've got to make sure that you wrap your arms around him and don't give him the extra. At this point in time, Clark does not have the first down. Here's Gilbert right there. Make the play. Wrap him up. When he lets go, there's 5, 10, about 14 yards more he picked up on the play, and now they're in scoring range.
Michael Bird, one of the best, though, in the secondary. He did indeed have a problem with the tackle, done very well by Lewis Clark. As the gun sounds, that's the end of the first quarter. And the Chargers, with a dominant team in it, they go out to an early 10-0 lead. He has for the Seattle Seahawks, president, general manager, and head coach. He has those meetings when he's shaving, doesn't he, with the rest of the executive board?
Yeah, he says we talk, and you know, the general manager and the head coach said to the general manager, the president, said to the head coach, I don't like what I'm seeing out there. Let's get some things moving. And well, yeah, why are you doing this to your body or our body? And Tommy, he's handled it very well. The one thing, what did he say? Don't lose your sense of humor.
That's what his owner, Ken Behring, said. Don't lose your sense of humor. Right now, he's seeing his team generate some offense, although the Hawks are down 10-0 as we open the second quarter. First down throw. Not a lot of zip on it again by Stauffer, but Chris Warren waits on the ball, gets his hands on it, takes the hit from the strong safety Floyd Fields, and holds on. First quarter stats.
You know, well, the one thing about this, what they have eliminated, too, is just take a look at turnovers, and that's the most important thing when you talk to coaches.
Yeah.
Total yards is all in favor of the Chargers, and the score is in favor of the Chargers, but that's the most important stat, 10-0.
Seattle Paul's only rushed for 19 yards, and 10 of those yards came on Kelly Stauffer's scramble a bit earlier for a first down.
As you talked about at the beginning, Crick, you're going against the number 4 defensive team in the National Football League.
Number 2 against the run. Warren tries to go wide. Blaylock comes over, makes a shoulder roll tackle, and knocks him down. Keys to the game, very often given us by the head coach, will really break down the game as it's played. Big plays win the game. And we'll see if that first big play holds up for the San Diego Chargers. The 67-yard pass play. Humphreys to Anthony Miller. Wants offense in both halves. Has not had consistency from his offense, Flores says, like he has on the defensive side. And those turnovers you just talked about, Paul.
Yeah, they're not getting it. They haven't had any, and they're getting some offense in this drive.
Kansas City's gone up on Denver 7-0. Third and short for the Seahawks. Play fake. Stauffer has room to run. He'll get the first down and more. And he slides to a halt at the 22-yard line. Plummer tried to hold off, but couldn't. He did make contact.
Where Gary Plummer makes the mistake here is when Stauffer goes down, Stauffer's coming back up. If he doesn't dip his shoulder and he puts his arms out, he could get away with this. Stauffer is limping, but Plummer comes in and drops his shoulder. Watch on the left of your screen. He comes up. You see where he drops his shoulder? And he's got his arms out. He's trying to avoid it. Had he not dropped it, he'd have gotten away with it. But it's a good call. This is really a good call. You see that shoulder dropping? Bam.
He hit him late.
Yeah, he did. And it is an excellent call by the official.
We just got word of an adverse development for San Diego, Paul. Marion Butts, their big runner, re-aggravated a shoulder injury, a knee injury. And right now it's questionable whether or not Marion Butts will return to the game. They have another tremendous power runner, though, maybe even better. Stan Maguire is now in the game. Former San Diego State Aztec comes in. Quick change of pitchers by the Seahawks. End up to Warren. Good defense by the Chargers. Ball on the field. Play was dead.
You know, makes that play? The guy that just caused it. The penalty a few moments ago, Plummer, number 50. He just gets back to the outside. He has some help out there by Blaylock, but Plummer, number 50, watch this. He's a middle linebacker. He slides to the outside. He makes the play. Outstanding. And then he's bad enough to rip the ball out of Maguire's hand. I mean, out of Warren's hands.
They're working on Kelly Stauffer's knee on the sideline. Looks like he might be back, but right now, Dan Maguire, the 6'8", 245-pound second-year quarterback, directing the offense. Seahawks down by 10. You can see deep with that great height. Up the middle, the throw goes incomplete to Lewis Clark.
Oh, Criqui had Doug Thomas in the right end zone in the corner all by himself. No one covered him. And I don't blame the young man. I mean, he's just coming in. He really hadn't had a chance to warm up. He's in the game playing right now. But he had Doug Thomas, number 85, standing in the end zone all by himself, and he never saw him. And he had time.
Maguire with those passing records at San Diego State, the #1 draft choice of the Seattle Seahawks 2 years ago. Doug Thomas goes out in the left flank, a second-year receiver from Clemson. Very, very fast. third down and 9 for the Seahawks. Draw to Warren. Big hit by Seahawks. 55. The All-Pro linebacker from Southern California with a bazooka hit, knocking 240-pound Chris Warren back.
First of all, this play takes too long to develop. That's number one. And then Junior Seau is just sitting there looking 55. You better block him. And when you don't block him, he's going to make the play. Brills does not block Seau. Seau destroys Warren.
Now the field goal unit comes out. John Casey comes out. He is 3 of 4 on field goals this season for the Seahawks. Rick Tootin is the holder. Hit hard and hit well by John Casey. So the Hawks are on the board with their first points of the day. They continue to work on starting quarterback Kelly Stauffer as San Diego's lead is cut to 10-3. Good news for the most part on Kelly Stauffer. His right knee or his left knee is okay. It was his actual knee brace that was bent. He had to come out to get it fixed. He couldn't run with it.
And folks, they're not screwing that into his leg.
We hope not.
They're just tightening up the brace. That looks kind of strange.
Man has some pain threshold.
I was going to say.
Here's Nate Lewis, and he'll down the ball in the end zone on a touchback that comes back out to the 20-yard line. So the Chargers with a 10-3 lead going offense from their 20 when we come back to Jack Murphy Stadium. Marion Butts aggravating a knee injury. Whether or not he'll be back, we'll wait to see. He was running the ball a lot early in the game. He saw 6 carries. He's had a little knee problem. Apparently took a pop on it. Bobby Ross, head coach of the Chargers, talked about his keys to the game. Score early, and he meant 7 points, and he got 7 on a 67-yard touchdown pass play. Humphreys to Anthony Miller. He wanted better special teams play. He said, we've got to do what Seattle does. They play real well, always have on special teams. Stop those mental mistakes, those nuisance penalties on third down that kill drives. Here's Humphreys. He's 5 for 5 throwing the ball. 6 for 6. Anthony Miller with his 4th catch, and he's now gone close to 100 yards receiving.
Well, that's all. You know, those 3 things are keys to the game. But you know, the first 2 are fine so far. They already did the first one, 7 points early. But the mistakes, the mental errors, the penalties, those are the things that you've got to eliminate. You're in the 5th game of the season. These things should have all been worked out. They should have been worked out in training camp, and that's the thing that frustrates him. The one thing that wins for teams is execution. Everybody has players, but you've got to execute, and you don't hurt yourself.
First and 10 for the Chargers. 10:48 to go first half. Chargers lead 10-3. Bernstein, who told us yesterday he'd like to get the ball 25 times a game. You wonder why he doesn't, because he averages over 5 yards a carry. That time he got 12 on his first carry of the day. He was an All-American tight end at Texas A&M. He's just a tremendous all-around player.
But look at the blocking in the offensive line, though. Here is the hole right up into the seam. And when he gets there, Rufus Porter does not get out to the outside. He picks up a first down. But the one thing what happens now, with Butts out, Bernstein in. Bernstein now, look at those meat hooks he's got on there. He can catch anything. But with him in there, he takes him out of the H-back position where they like to get him downfield catching the ball.
Back to Bernstein again for positive yardage. He busts ahead across the 45-yard line out to the 47. Anthony Miller has been the big threat today, though. He's caught 4 passes for the Chargers for 100 yards. The one for a touchdown. Bernstein, a big back, comes in averaging 5.1 yards a carry. And we have Jeff Bryant shaking up, Paul, for the Seahawks, left end. The 11-year veteran is attended to, and while Big Jeff is taken care of, there's a break in the action. 10-3 Chargers.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Burger King, where you can get it your way right away at Burger King now. By MasterCard. Master the moment with a card that's accepted at nearly 10 million places worldwide. By the new Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. And by Coors Light. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
Kelly Stauffer was just warming up. He appears ready to come back in the game when the Seahawks get the ball. Right now the Chargers have it, and Stan Humphreys is really throwing well. He's hit 6 of 6 for 127 yards and a touchdown. To the run to Bernstein. sensational player who gets limited use for whatever reasons as he again breaks it for a first down, taken down by the free safety for the Seahawks, Eugene Robinson.
We got Sinclair in the ball game, and I'm telling you, Cortez Kennedy tackled his own man. Sinclair in the backfield, and there's Bernstein picking up the first down, but Cortez Kennedy wiped out Sinclair, number 70, coming down the line of scrimmage. He tackled his own man.
If it moves, hit it.
Yeah.
Bernstein 3 rushes now, Paul, for 25 yards, so averaging over 8 yards a rush. Here's the big rush. And Humphreys does well to release the ball, as coming hard was Tony Woods, number 57.
Well, they're looking for intentional grounding by Humphreys, but the one problem was that number 82, Rod Bernstein, happened to be in the pattern.
Bernstein is a Californian. He was born in Fairfield, California. Big, rangy, 6'5", almost 240 pounds, a huge stride, very tough to tackle. Great change in speed, move, can accelerate. Humphrey throws, catching it is Ronnie Harmon. He turns out on a 2nd and 10 play and gets ahead for a gain of almost 8 yards. Linebacker Terry Wooden, number 90, knocked him out of bounds for the Seahawks.
The one thing you cannot do on defense is let Ronnie Harmon run free down underneath. Watch underneath here. The linebackers are pulling out. Wooden's pulling out, Wyman's pulling out, and there's Harmon running underneath the 2 guys. You cannot let him do that because he's going to pick up anywhere from 6 to 8 yards. That time he picked up 7. You got to get a piece of him coming across the middle. You can't let him run free.
San Diego opened this game quickly if you joined us late. On the 5th play of the game, they hit on a 67-yard scoring play. 3 wide receivers come left. They have a man in motion right. Humphrey hands off. Straight ahead is Harmon. Those Seahawks, they're among the best at knocking the ball free. More than even Harmon, they were looking to knock the football free.
Joe Nash was there. Everybody was there, and there was just no place for Harmon to go. These people want the Chargers to go for it.
Tough place for Carney to kick a field goal, Paul. He's on infield dirt.
Well, you're 0-4. I mean, what are you going to do?
4th and 3. Hawks send in their defensive package, extra defensive backs. Big ovation.
Well, you better get moving. Humphreys is inside 10 seconds to get this ball off.
Short memories, though, by the fans in the stands if they don't make it. 4th down play. Here's a throw. Not even close. Penalty marker in.
Wait a minute. Now, are they going to call holding on Blackman? But there's one thing you have to take into consideration. This ball is not catchable. You can't have pass interference if the ball is not catchable. The ball wasn't even thrown close to Anthony Miller.
Take a look.
Illegal
Right in the
contact.
screen.
25, defense.
It is illegal contact, but look at here. Anthony Miller's running downfield. That ball is thrown like 15 yards behind him, but they call illegal contact. Don't like it. Don't like the call.
Nor does Coach Flores, but it holds, and it gives the Chargers a first down after they failed to convert on a 4th down try. So San Diego with a 10-3 lead keeps the drive going. 2nd quarter, 7:44 to play in it. Bernstein.
Oh, sorry. I mean, the whole defense hit Bernstein. Most of these people are upset now. Seattle's upset because Seattle's upset because they had him 3rd or 4th in a situation where they should have gotten the ball back and they have a penalty. At that time, Bernstein was trying to run to his left, but he had to cut back inside, and then about 8 people got him. There's Tom Catlin, and I think he's absolutely brilliant as a defensive coordinator in the National Football League. He is just one of the best.
This is Bernstein's 6th year in the NFL, and for his career, he averages 5 yards a carry, which is extraordinary. Here is Harmon running the ball on the 2nd down try. Weaves at the Seahawks. If Bieniemy gets it, and he'll take it close to the 25-yard line.
Eric Bieniemy, I talked to Bobby Beathard about Bieniemy. Why would you take this guy that high when you need so many other people and you have guys like Butts and Bernstein and Harmon. Well, there was contractual deals with Bernstein. Bernstein has a one-year deal, 1 year at a time. Butts, they didn't know whether he was going to sign or not. But they think an awful lot of Bieniemy, and they feel if they're going to win down the road, Bieniemy is the guy that's going to have to carry the load.
Humphries now 7 of 8 throwing the ball. 8 of 9. He goes to Bernstein, and he has a Charger first down at the 19-yard line. Tackled by the free safety Eugene Robinson. So Humphries, who was a backup on the Redskins, and he really extols Joe Gibbs, talking about why the Redskins are so good. He said the intensity of their practices, the Redskin practices, is something to behold. Gibbs is a believer. If you go out there in shorts and go through the motions, you play like that on Sunday. He said the Redskins come out in full dress, full battle gear every day, and they hit. And they play like that on Sunday. And the Chargers we're talking about, they had their best practices of the year this week. Very aggressive hitting practices. And it's showing up on the playing field. They've taken a 10-3 lead, are challenging again, but Humphries, Paul, has to call timeout.
Well, because he had Anthony Miller lined up on the wrong side of the field. Anthony Miller was supposed to be on the right side. He lined up on the left side. Humphries saw it, called timeout.
And the count holds 10-3 Chargers. Chargers moving the ball. 12th play of the drive coming up, using a lot of clock. Game clock down to 5:29 in the first half. 10-3 San Diego to the run to Bernstein, cutting back, upended. He's down to the 16-yard line. Robert Blackman, the strong safety, upended him. Coming up at halftime, the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report with Bob Costas, Will McDonough, and Bill Parcells. Scores and highlights. And they'll also be talking to Coach Bill Walsh of the Stanford Cardinal.
They trounced Notre Dame yesterday. 33 unanswered points.
Yesterday, the Stanford easing by Notre Dame, rallying from behind.
Senate won 25-0. They're 5-0 when they face Notre Dame in the bowl game of their choice.
Could happen. Ball slapped down. Big rush. Jeff Bryant, number 77, back in the game and slapping it back.
Best pass defense in the world. Defensive linemen getting their arms up, just knocking the ball down. Jeff Bryant, right? Take a look on the left of your screen. Number 77, double teamed. He waits. Look at the big paw goes up, knocks the ball down. You don't get better pass defense than that, folks. Adding some fuel to him. Went over the sideline, get filled up. The water bottles are kind of funny sticking through the face mask.
It's a warm day here in San Diego. Temperature in the 80s. Third down, they need 7. And most importantly for Humphries, he doesn't want to turn it over to keep the field goal alive. He misses this throw. Here's a throw and a miss. No flag, and it'll be a field goal attempt. Nate Lewis running the post pattern. Kansas City now up 7-3 on Denver. Giants lead the winless Raiders 7-0. Washington back in championship form apparently, blasting the Cardinals at Phoenix.
And that was just outstanding coverage by number 34, Brian Davis. He was all over Nate Lewis. No chance.
John Carney, who hit a 49-yarder earlier today, ready to try again. He is 6 for 8 on the season in field goal tries. Former kicker from Notre Dame. Spinning kick. Doesn't look good. It's not. Missed hit. So the long Charger drive ends up an empty trip.
Looking at the infield, huh?
And Seattle holds, takes over the ball. Seahawks trailing by 7.
Carney is the kicker. This is perfect. Kid gets the ball down. Watch this, and there's no slipping. Here's the hit there. That's all perfect. Now, when you see it, he just pushes the ball to the right, his right, the left of the screen. Watch this. I mean, he made perfect contact with the ball and just pushed it to the right.
Isn't a kicker alive, though, Paul, as you know, that likes to kick off infield dirt?
You're right.
Set downs often uneven. Stauffer back in at quarterback for the Seahawks. Looking to throw on first down. Here comes the rush. Penalty marker in. As on the run is John L. Williams out to the 28-yard line. A gain of 8, but the play's probably going to come back. Gary Plummer, number 50, was the tackler, along with Tony Blaylock. Holding on the Seahawks. Gary Plummer told us yesterday, he said, we haven't been scoring, but it's our job to hold the opposition to fewer points than we score. And he said, that means a shutout. It means a shutout.
Holding. 54, offense.
That's Grant Feasel,
Still
the
first
center.
down.
And boy, you know, again, you got a screen going. Feasel is the center. Stauffer's under the center, and here it comes right here. Boom, he reaches over. Look at his left arm. His left arm, and he pulls him down. That's just a takedown. I mean, you can't do that. Winner is the guy he holds. It is a screen. I mean, just get a piece of him and then let him come through. He can't get to the quarterback anyway because he's going to dump the ball.
Chargers on offense had more than 3 times the yards of the Seahawks. Seahawks only 60 yards offense. Chargers with almost 200. Stauffer looks. Here comes the heat. He gets it away a little bit low and incomplete. O'Neal again with a big rush. Number 91 busting in from the right side for the Chargers.
Yeah, but you got a quarterback that's running for his life in the end zone, and he throws the ball and hits Lewis Clark, number 84, right in the hands with the ball. Catch the football. I mean, Stauffer does the best he could possibly do here. He's got a little bit of blocking up front. Now watch, he gets flushed out. He goes back. That's Grossman, 92, coming in, and Leslie O'Neal there. But look at this. That ball hits Clark in the head. That is a lack of concentration.
Williams works ahead and gets across the 15-yard line. Bruce Grossman gets him. 65-year-old Bill Arnsparger is the defensive coach of the San Diego Chargers. The players call him Father Time. He had those great Miami Dolphin teams, championship teams in the 70s, the 2 Super Bowl teams. He was the defensive coach, came back to the Dolphins in the 80s. Then went into college football, head coach at LSU, more recently the athletic director at Florida. But he's simplified the defense, a basic 4-3. Players don't have a lot to think about. They have a specific assignment. There's not a lot of stunting and blitzing. Just solid base defense, and it works. His team with the 4th best defense in the NFL coming into this game. Stauffer, sack, Leslie O'Neal, and Bert Grossman.
I said a little while ago, you better slow down these 2 defensive ends, Grossman. Now, what they've done, the Chargers, is different than what they've been doing in the first 4 games.
Stauffer's down, Paul.
And Kelly Stauffer is down. And he's holding his shoulder. Maguire back up again. But I said you've got to slow these 2 guys down, Grossman and O'Neal. What I was saying before, that up until now, till this game, what they were doing is they were putting Junior Seau on the defensive line and left end and moving Bert Grossman inside. Okay? Here comes Flores out to look at his quarterback. And then now you're leaving Grossman alone, and they're doing a great job. I mean,
he really got sandwiched. The 2 ends came from either side. Here's the replay.
Grossman's going to be on the bottom, 92. He gets back inside, and then Leslie O'Neal on the top. Bam, bam, and here down goes Stauffer. Boy, I'll tell you.
O'Neal coming down the full force of his 265 pounds, driving Kelly Stauffer into the turf.
That sack is Leslie O'Neal's alone. It looked like Bert Grossman got in on it, but Bert Grossman was on the ground. Stauffer is up. I mean, how many? This team
might be his left shoulder, which is, if he had to hurt one, that would be the better one to hurt.
Oh yeah, but this team has had so many injuries. Again, we said at the beginning, Stauffer, this offense has not started with the same offense in 5 games this season. Now they're going to have to punt.
It'll give Maguire a bit more time to warm up. As you remember, he was in the game earlier, played from scrimmage for about 5 downs when Stauffer went out with a bent knee brace. Dropping into the end zone is Rick Tootin to punt the ball for the Hawks. There is Eric Bieniemy back deep for the Chargers. Big rush. Tootin gets off a beauty. Booms a high spiral. If Bieniemy takes it, it's 40. And he's out to the 48-yard line. A 50-yard punt, an 8-yard return. So the Chargers go back on offense and start in relatively good field position. Next Saturday on NBC, Karch Kiraly, the world's best volleyball player, defends his title as King of the Beach against a strong field. Given the grueling round-robin tournament structure, it promises to be no day at the beach for these volleyball superstars. That is next Saturday at 3:30 on NBC. The King of the Beach Volleyball Invitational. Don Criqui with Paul Maguire, San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. Temperature in the 80s, clear and sunny. Chargers with the ball in a 10-3 lead. 2:53 to play in the first half. Humphries throws, not close to Bernstein. Big rush by Tony Woods.
I'll tell you, there's a time that the official, Johnny Greer, could have called intentional grounding because no one got out. He throws the ball away. The heat was on. Tony Woods was in his face, and he threw the ball away. There was no one around. You know, remember one thing now, the Chargers, they only have one, actually 2 timeouts. They have 1 on the board and a 2-minute warning.
Seattle with a lot of pride in their defense, as Gene Robinson, their free safety, was saying yesterday. Ronnie Harmon in the game. That this team is really together. We have fun playing this game. There's a lot of pride. It's not some guy gets a sack, we all get a sack. Here's a long ball downfield, and Humphries, even though it looked to be an errant throw, did the right thing. His man was covered, the rush was on, he released the ball to nowhere, so he didn't take the sack.
Nowhere? I mean, there is a guy within 40 yards of this ball.
Including a defender.
Yeah. He's talking about throwing the ball away. Here's Humphries rolling out to the outside, and there's just no chance. Watch Rufus Porter. He gets through 2 blockers and gets in his face. Good hit there. Well, look at downfield. I didn't see him. They had an official wide open.
As you know, Paul, Humphries is very, very aware of the interception. The Chargers have thrown more interceptions through the first 4 games than any team in the league, 11. But there's been no pickoff today. He's had some sensational passing numbers today. Here's a hard throw.
That's tipped.
So the Seahawks defense standing tall in this series. 3 downs and out for San Diego.
Now you got the Seahawks with the ball, and they have 3 timeouts. The Chargers only ran off about 25 seconds of the clock.
Still a lot of time left. 2:35 to play in the first half. San Diego jumped out to a 7-0 lead on a 67-yard pass play. Humphries to Miller. John Kidd hits it downfield. Coming up to catch it is Chris Warren at the 22-yard line.
Chris Warren does everything, doesn't he?
He really does. We asked him about it yesterday. He said, is it a big load to carry? He said, it is. But that's my job, to run from scrimmage, catch passes, and to return kicks.
He was selling some programs earlier, trying to help San Diego out.
From Ferrum College. We asked him where Ferrum College was. He said in Ferrum, Virginia. Let's cleared that up.
Got that straight.
Kelly Stauffer is now going in to get his shoulder x-rayed, and Dan Maguire is coming out to lead the Seattle offense again.
Well, the one thing that Tom Flores has probably told Maguire, just don't make a mistake. Unless the guy is totally open, if you're going to throw, make sure you hit him on a target or throw the ball out of bounds. We can't make a mistake. We're only down by 7.
But he's got to get it downfield to get him in range. Intercepted.
That's what I said not to do.
Tony Blaylock. No sooner said, Paul.
Well, he guided the ball. He didn't throw the ball with authority. And that is a long throw. If you're going to make a throw, don't make that throw. Because you're throwing to the outside that gives the defensive man a chance, Blaylock, the corner, to get to the ball. Now, look how far Maguire has to throw this ball, to the outside. There really isn't much on the ball. There's not much on the ball, and Blaylock, watch the jump he gets on it. He's throwing out to the outside to Clark. The jump by Blaylock, that ball never really got there. Bad throw. Great name, but a bad throw.
And great field position for the San Diego Chargers. They start this drive at the 32-yard line of the Hawks. Bernstein just blasted up the middle. Gain of 10 on the carry. Every time this guy gets yards running the ball. The Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report is coming up shortly as we tick down to the 2-minute warning. Will Bob and Bill Parcells to review the day's action and also talk with Stanford coach Bill Walsh.
2 minutes.
So we're down to 2 minutes to play in the first half. Shifty runner despite his great size. Rufus Porter put the head-on strike on him, a gain of about 3 yards on the play. 2nd down and 7.
He only made the play right into the screen 97. Watch this play he makes, and he feels like he's being held, and he is being held, and he still makes the play. Swain holds him 72, and Porter still gets off and makes a play for a 2-yard gain. Is that any good?
We haven't called Cortez Kennedy's number that often either, Paul. Doing a nice job. Eric Moten's been blocking pretty well on the big guys. Rod Bernstein runs again.
Moten 77. Swain is 72. Here's Porter 97. He's just coming down the line of scrimmage. Cortez Kennedy is on Courtney Hall. It's just a big jam up in here. These guys, I mean, you're really trying to put people on the ground.
Third down. Chargers need 2. There's a guy that'll get it for you and more. Bernstein down to the 7-yard line. Eugene Robinson saved a touchdown.
San Diego will take their final timeout.
39 seconds to play in the half.
Timeout. San Diego, number 3.
There's Rod Bernstein. See him getting up smiling. He was smiling all day yesterday. We talked to him. He said, you know, I'd like to carry 25, 30 times.
He said, hey, but Marion Butts has been to the Pro Bowl twice. He's a good player, too.
Yeah, but they've got the relief. And again, this offense was the setup for this game was to play Bernstein more as the H-back, play him some as a running back. Butts would start, which he always does, and then play the back position. But when Butts went down, it put Bernstein back in the backfield. And I mean, look at the numbers. That's all right, too, isn't it?
Real all right. 6.1 a carry.
Now the Chargers are out of timeouts, which makes you believe they've got to put the ball into the end zone. And that's what the big problem, by throwing the ball. They got to put the ball in the end zone, obviously, but by throwing the ball. Because when you've got a guy like Bernstein, actually what you can do is run a play here, one running play, and then get up under center and then bust the ball. Now you still have third down if you don't make it on the first down. You still will have third down in order to either throw the ball again or whatever you want to do. You wouldn't want to run it. And then get your field goal team on. I would be surprised to see him run a play here.
39 seconds. Quick drop. Humphrey's in trouble, and they sack him at the 12-yard line.
Jeff Bryant.
Moving quickly into formation, out of timeouts. Once the ball is set, the clock starts again. Now we have an official jumping in and calling an official timeout. 35 seconds to play.
Timeout. Seattle.
Seattle calling a timeout.
Well, they wanted to get the right people on the field. When Humphreys, you remember when he got sacked, the clock stops when he's sacked until, you're right, till the ball is set again. Then the clock should start. But I guess Seattle did not have the right people, the right combination that they wanted on that play. I was just down there looking. Rufus Porter just grabbed Jeff Bryant, started shaking him, said, let's go do something. You know what? Remember what Porter said to us yesterday, which I thought was absolutely terrific. He said, we put it together. We get some offense going. He said, we could be 13-3.
Yeah.
And that's positive thinking. They're 1-3 now.
Yeah. Why can't you win them all? Maybe that's why he's a free agent who goes to the Pro Bowl. Believes in the gospel of success. Giants leading the Raiders 10-7. The Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report coming up shortly. Bill Walsh, who said his victory over Notre Dame yesterday was as big as any coaching victory he's ever had. It's a man who's coached 3 Super Bowl winners at San Francisco.
Well, maybe the Citadel will give up on Notre Dame and go play Stanford.
I think it'd be a better matchup.
I would think so.
Humphrey throws. Too much on it. Clock stops with 31 seconds left to play, and third down arises for the Chargers.
Too much on it? How about too much defensive secondary? The secondary had that play covered. The offensive line did an excellent job trying to hold the defensive line out. Humphreys had time. He just couldn't find anyone open. He tried to throw to Nate Lewis, but he was also covered. Good defensive secondary.
Humphreys hit 8 of his first 9 passes. He's now missed his last 6 in a row.
Frick, on that Giant score, it's 10-0.
10-0.
Raiders have not scored.
Third down. Third and goal. Motion in the line. Here come the markers. There's the throw. Incomplete.
They're going to have...
Looking at Rod Bernstein in the end zone.
Rufus Porter saying the offense moved, and that would have been a dead play. Look at Rufus. He's trying to sell it. Rufus Porter, 97, he's in there saying it's against them. It's against them.
And is ready to play on Saturday.
Well, they better call it against San Diego or Rufus is going to be upset. Look at Rufus.
Bobby Ross.
Illegal motion. Offense.
Rufus got it in.
Offside. Defense. They'll offset. Still third down.
Well, now you're down to 30 seconds. Remember, this ball...
Got to be a throw into the end zone.
Yeah. Now, this is really something, because I remember years ago when I played, before they had face masks, what happens, you're going to see that field goal team is on the sidelines, and they're ready to go. Because if they catch the ball and they don't get into the end zone, they're going to have about 20 seconds to get on that field.
Please reset
as a unit.
The game clock to 26 seconds.
Now you got 26 seconds.
Thank you.
Now, if they catch the ball, they're going to have about 15 seconds to get that field goal team out there. They're all in a position to go.
Paul Maguire played when they wore Roman numerals, right, Paul?
Well, I made a wallet out of my helmet.
Hold it up. Put it in your back pocket. Here's the third down throw. Into the end zone it goes. Not close, and the field goal unit comes out.
Watch out. Rufus Porter is now, he is going after Swain. Porter,
after Humphrey.
Well, he went after Swain first, because Swain, he figures, will hold him. Rufus Porter, you talk about a guy in this ball game, and the flag is down. Now, if they call this against Seattle, that's a dumb penalty.
Rufus only weighs about 218 pounds. He said once the tackles get their hands on him, he's finished because they're just too big and strong.
They call holding against Seattle.
He's got to beat him with speed.
You're down to 21 seconds.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 97.
Well, they got Rufus
defense.
on a illegal hands to the face. A defensive foul and a first down for the Chargers.
Well, he was lined up on Swain, number 72.
They can throw at least twice into the end zone.
All right, right on the bottom of the screen, here's Rufus Porter going in. And where, I want to see the hands. There's the hands right there in his face. He's pushing Swain back. You cannot get your hands up in his face mask. Good call.
Swain might have his up, and Rufus is also. Big rush. Here comes Porter. There's the throw. Too much. And the clock shows 18 seconds to play. First half, only 3 seconds elapsed.
Rufus Porter, I want to tell you something. It's just fun to watch a guy that has that much energy. He's going against Swain, and he is really upset. He said, I'm being held. You're not calling. You call me for hands to the face. Why don't you call it on the guy holding me? I mean, this guy, you talk about down and dirty, loves to play in the dirt part of the field. Shirt's out. He's ready.
You have to hold Rufus Porter. He gets your quarterback every time.
All right, here's Porter making an outside move. Now watch. He wants to come around. He wants to come around. He's calling holding. They finally brought out Courtney Hall, the center, to help out.
This is some terrific defense, though, by the Seahawks. Their offense stuck him in this hole. Here's another throw and a catch. Touchdown, Anthony Miller. Phenomenal play by Anthony Miller. His second touchdown catch of the season. Both today.
Patrick Hunter was all over him.
Something to celebrate here in San Diego, Paul.
You bet it is. And here's Anthony Miller with his second touchdown catch of the day. Patrick Hunter, 27. The inside move. Hunter coming back to the outside. I mean, he's there. Look at this throw and catch. Anthony Miller catches the ball in the playing field. Now he brings it in. Boy, is that questionable. Can I tell you something? That is questionable. Because the ball was underneath his arm when he hit the ground. Did the ball hit the ground? If it did, it's not a catch.
We'll look again.
Watch under his right arm, Anthony Miller. Watch where the ball ends up, Crick, when he's coming down with it. His hands are on the ball there. He's trying to bring the ball. He doesn't have control. Watch where the ball is. See the ball going out?
Oh, yeah.
Because Hunter's hand is in there. That ball is on the ground. That is not a catch.
Yes, it is. It's on the board. No replay. Great second look. Our producer today for NBC Sports is Glenn Adamo. Our director, John Gilmartin. Executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. As Anthony Miller, who's coming up with his first big day in some time. The man who was a first-team All-Pro in '89, tailed off markedly the last couple of years, but today, 5 catches, 2 for touchdowns, way over 100 yards in receiving. 1 for touchdown, 1 for a gift. I know it's 7 points on the board, and you're absolutely right, but I guarantee you if they had replay, that would not be a touchdown. I'll bet you one goes Seattle's way in the second half.
Yeah, just take a look at the ball coming out underneath. See, there's no control of the ball. The ball is sliding. Here's don't look at it here. Now watch what Anthony Miller does. You see him pull the ball up off the ground? That is not a catch.
Now the Chargers' beneficiaries are now a line drive kick. Well fielded. Picked up. As running hard with the ball straight ahead is Tracy Johnson, and he gets it to the 44-yard line. The Hawks only had 5 seconds to work with here in the first half, down 17-3. Giants at halftime up 10-0 on the Raiders. Raiders en route quite possibly to a 5th consecutive loss. Instead of just win, baby, it's just win one, baby.
Yeah, you really got to get something. Here's a situation now where Maguire goes back and just throw one to the end zone every 5 seconds. I'll tell you, Rufus, this man is not happy. I mean, he is being held. I mean, look, he's going to carry this into the locker room. He's going to say something to his teammates.
And a great guy to have in your team.
Oh, is he ever?
Tremendous competitor. That's a big league arm. Lets it rip. A lot of Chargers are back there, and they pick it off. At the 6-yard line, it's picked off by the sheriff. Stanley Richards calls himself the sheriff because he says, I lay down the law. So the Chargers have their first big offensive day in the first half. Maybe a gift of a second touchdown, but they have a 17-3 lead. The Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report is next. We'll be right back after a message from the NFL and words from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report, brought to you by Domino's. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
All right, Bill Parcells and Will McDonough are here. We will hear from each of them in just a moment, but first to the scoreboard. Kansas City has the halftime lead in Denver. It's 10-3 at Mile High. The Giants are in front of the Raiders. Halftime at the Coliseum. Marinovich quarterbacking, but the Raiders unable to put anything on the board to this point and trailing 10-0. Washington is in front. Halftime in Phoenix, 17-0. Phoenix 0-3. They've lost 11 regular season games in succession dating back to last year and well on their way to making it a dozen without a victory. San Diego, in the game you folks are watching, looking for their first win of the year and leading the 1-3 Seahawks at the half, 17-3. San Francisco goes to the third quarter at Candlestick with a 10-7 lead on the Rams, but Jim Everett completed all 9 passes he threw in the first half, one of them for a touchdown. Now, these are finals from earlier today. Miami goes to 4-0 and drops Buffalo to 4-1, shocking the Bills at Rich Stadium, 37-10, and it didn't take the newly acquired Keith Jackson long to get into the flow of things for the Dolphins. Here's Marino, flushed out of the pocket, on the run. Jackson comes back to him to make himself a target, catches the pass, dives to the pylon, into the corner of the end zone for the touchdown, 10-3 Miami. They were up 17-3 after Jim Kelly was intercepted by J.B. Brown. Brown brought it back almost 50 yards, and they took it in from there as Marino hit Tony Page for the TD, 17-3. Just before the half, however, 16 yards, Kelly to Andre Reed. They're back in the game at 17-10. But on the first possession of the third quarter, Marino takes them 82 yards in 13 plays, capping it with the 9-yarder to Bobby Humphrey, 24-10 Miami. Buffalo still has a chance to get back in it. If they score here, they're within 7, but instead, it's a 14-point turnaround. Lewis Oliver, who had 3 interceptions today, 3 of the 4 times they picked Kelly off, takes this one in the end zone, brings it back a record-tying 103 yards for the score. Vincey Glenn, who's now with the Vikings, but was with San Diego in 1987 when he had a 103-yard touchdown return of an interception. Now shares the record with Lewis Oliver, and Miami goes on to win it 37-10 today in Buffalo. Minnesota was trailing at home 20-0 in the fourth quarter, and they came back and beat the Bears 21-20. Highlights from the Metrodome. Refrigerator Perry receiving some assistance, tucking in his shirt. We thought you folks would like to see that. Harbaugh throwing to Tom Waddle, who makes a diving catch for a TD. This is in the first quarter. 20-0 Chicago at one point. However, a big mistake by Jim Harbaugh. Early in the fourth quarter, he audibles at the line of scrimmage, throws the ill-advised pass. Todd Scott, who had 3 interceptions last week against Cincinnati, picks it off, brings it back for a TD. Here's how Ditka feels about it. Harbaugh getting the proverbial earful. After another Minnesota TD made it 20-14, less than 2 minutes to go. They drive for the winning TD. The former 49er Roger Craig up and over from the 1. The extra point wins it 21-20. What does Ditka have to say afterwards?
No, it's a loss. I mean, what the hell? It's a loss. What are you going to do? We just dug ourselves a big hole. Now we'll find out if we got enough character in this football team to get out of the hole. That's all. But I'm not I will say this honestly in front of, if the situation arises again, there will be changes made, and they'll be definite and they'll be permanent. That's all I'll say. Because I'm not going to put 47 guys' careers in the hand of somebody who thinks he knows more than I know. That's just the way I feel.
Pointed reference to Harbaugh now in the doghouse with the 20-0 lead in the fourth quarter, and the objective being to chew up the clock. He checks off at the line of scrimmage, throws the pass out to the left side, and it's picked off by Scott, who brings it back for the TD, and the game turns. At that point, Vikings go on to win 21-20. New Orleans is now 3-2, and Detroit, last year's NFC Central champions, opening at 1-4, a 13-7 win for the Saints at the Silverdome. Now that's 2 losses in a row at home for Detroit, and remember, they were close to invincible there the last couple of years, and Barry Sanders' slump continues, 9 carries for just 37 yards today. Indianapolis over Tampa Bay 24-14. Jeff George comes back, intercepted 3 times, but began to click in the second half as they rallied for the win. He threw 2 second-half touchdown passes, and Indy wins at Tampa Bay. Atlanta gets 3 touchdown passes from Chris Miller. They are 2-3. So is Green Bay after this game. The Falcons over the Packers 24-10. Now, Bill Parcells, your thoughts on Buffalo and Miami?
Well, it's a little bit of a surprise to me, but I think it's Miami's biggest win in 5 or 6 years. And every once in a while, you get a win that just provides the impetus to the team. I mean, the preseason prognostications, it's Buffalo in a walk. Well, today we found that it's not going to be.
And Miami's defense, they could always score, even when they lost to Buffalo. They could always score on Marv Levy's team. They couldn't stop them. Today they did.
Well, they had a great day from Louis Oliver. 3 interceptions, Bob. He gets the game ball from Don Shula, and he had to feel great that it was against Buffalo. A couple of years ago, in key games, Miami and Buffalo, they had to take him off the field because he could not match up with the Bills' wide receivers.
Okay, coming up following this break, Bill Parcells analyzes the strategy of Bill Walsh in a huge win for Stanford as they upset Notre Dame yesterday, and we'll do that following these messages from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
With Will McDonough and Bill Parcells during this halftime segment, we're going to take a look back to what happened yesterday in South Bend, Indiana. True, it was a great win for Stanford, but it was also a great insight into Bill Walsh. This is one of the defining moments in his coaching career in his own terms. Even though he's won 3 Super Bowls, he talked about yesterday's game as one of the highlights of his entire career, and it had the hallmarks of the coaching style of Bill Walsh. They fall behind 16-0. His team doesn't panic. They come back, and they do it with an offensive package, the likes of which the most college teams never have to face.
Well, it looks familiar to me, Bob. The first play is vintage 49er offense. You see the fullback, J.J. Lastly, sneaking underneath the Notre Dame blitz coverage. Steve Sinstrom, the quarterback, fakes the sweep, bootlegs out, eludes the rush just in time to get it to Lastly, who takes it in for a 20-16 Stanford lead.
Now, later, they're going to be up by 7. And Walsh has no time to celebrate. Notice how composed he'll be on the sideline as we get a look at him here. They got the ball at their own 20. They want to eat up some time, but they don't just want to plunge into the line, and he's got a creative way to approach that, too.
Well, this is vintage 49er power right here, the sweep. I can see Wendell Tyler running this, Linville Elliott running this from years back, and Sinstrom to Milburn here. Big gain in the last drive.
And here's Walsh after the game on this very play.
That's a bob sweep that Sid Gilman developed in the early 60s. And that was a big part of our San Francisco offense, and with other clubs I've worked with and been with. And the Glenn Milburn's ideal, and I don't think we had even seen the bob sweep.
And the key to these drives, which won the game for them in the second half, the unorthodox mixing of the run and the pass, going to each when you'd least expect it. Certainly not by the textbook, but by his intuition and his preparation.
Well, 4 receivers strong, and they sneak the tight end back to the weak side. Sinstrom gets it to him, another big play.
Does it look familiar? Maybe it should. This is from the '81 NFC title game, the legendary win over Dallas. Here's Montana on the late drive, finding Freddie Solomon here that set them up for the winning TD pass to Dwight Clark. And then here's the sweep. Here's that so-called bob sweep, and a guy whose name you mentioned, Linville Elliott, gets it here.
Looks familiar to me. There they go with good power, guards out in front, knocking the Dallas defenders down. Here's the same thing yesterday. Milburn, same sweep, in for the easy touchdown.
And Walsh allowing himself a moment of quiet celebration on the sideline. Just for those of you who might be curious, bob sweep, back, fullback, on backer, linebacker. He is not that surprised, based on a conversation you had with him this summer, not that surprised that he was able to beat Notre Dame.
That's right. I think he was very confident he could beat Notre Dame, Bob. I talked with him. He visited the Olympics. We talked one night, and I asked him about his schedule, and he says, yeah, we'll win about 8 or 9 games, and we're going to beat a couple of teams people don't think we can beat. And I said, who? He said, Notre Dame. And when he came in, you know, big underdog yesterday, I think it was just what he wanted. He was confident against Notre Dame that he could score against their defense.
The other thing is, these defensive coordinators, these young guys in college football, they better start watching some film, because they're not going to catch up with Bill Walsh in 3 weeks film exchange. They got to go back 5, 6, 7 years, see what he did out there. That's vintage 49er stuff we're seeing.
How would you prepare for him? I realize you didn't play him that often, not being in the same division.
We played him enough to satisfy me. We played him 7 or 8 times, and we would go back and look at what they attacked us with only, and not look at the attack on other teams in our division or in the conference.
Like you say, not many college coaches will have faced the sort of package, which obviously doesn't have the same sort of personnel, but it's the same idea, it's the same overview that he brought to the 49ers.
Well, they don't have the pass defense scheme in college football that Walsh is used to attacking, so this is kind of elementary stuff for the Stanford offense right now.
Okay, and we continue following these messages from your local stations.
Welcome back to San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. John Carney kicks it off for the Chargers to start the second half. Chris Warren had a tightrope the sideline to stay in bounds, and as it was, he only got to the 16-yard line. As we look at the Coors Light halftime stats. 222 yards total offense for the Chargers to just, as you see, 67 for Seattle. Stan Humphries told us yesterday he was going to take more shots at the deep ball at the end zone, and he's thrown for 2 touchdowns. This is a team that had not scored a touchdown in 10 previous quarters. Now we're told that Kelly Stauffer, Paul, is out for the rest of the game because of an injury to his shoulder. So Big Dan Maguire, home run hitter Mark Maguire's younger brother, comes out to quarterback the Hawks. First down. And he's going to have to throw deep in this game because they're not going to run the ball in this Charger defense. Beautiful catch. Net yards, just 2. So Paul Maguire, an old friend and teammate of Coach Tom Flores of the Seahawks, and I know you had an extended conversation about the state of his club, and the big problem is the injuries, compounded today by the injury to Stauffer. Where does he go from here with a young quarterback?
Well, he's going to have to stay with Maguire, and what he's going to try to do now is you simplify the offense. Really, I mean, Maguire's been there, but he's the backup guy. You don't get as many reps in practice because Kelly Stauffer is the guy that runs the club. But what you have to do in a situation like this, Crick, is to simplify it. Don't let him do anything really dangerous.
Flores was talking about when things aren't going well, you don't try new things. You go back to basics and try to execute them. But this San Diego defense, despite the 0-4 record, this is one of the best defenses in the NFL now, and it's getting better game by game. You're not going to run on this defense. For the Seahawks to get back in it, they're going to have to throw the ball and risk the interception. They've had a problem with it already today.
You know, I've seen a lot of teams with injuries and what happens to them. Now you're looking at a play here
Still
where
second down.
Seattle comes out, they try a running play, and they get caught for holding. Toffelmeyer, the center, who was hurt earlier, went into the game, and now he's leaving the game. His arm is just hanging down. I think it's an arm injury that he has. He tried to play, can't play. Grant Fiesel is now in the game. Just too many mistakes. Too many mistakes.
Mistake there sets the Hawks back inside their 10-yard line. See Joe Toffelmeyer going as long and as hard as he can, but the bad shoulder takes him out of the game again. Maguire looking deep. Dumps it off. Swings it to John L. Williams. He gets a block and a first down. As the big back from Florida is out across the 25-yard line, out to the 29.
Brills gets an excellent block on Junior Seau, and Seau is upset because he believes he was held. To the right of the screen, 64 is going to get out there. They get excellent blocks. What's 64? Right here, and there's Junior Seau. Grabs him by the face mask, and that's why he's upset. Seattle picks up a first down. But Brills just grabbed Seau by the face mask and pulled him down. You have the right to be upset, Junior.
Seattle missing its best pass receiver, Brian Blades, a 1,000-yard receiver a year ago. He went out with a shoulder injury in his first game back. The opening game this year for a holdout. Warren comes to the near side on first down. Not much there. The hustle of Junior Seau is something to marvel at. his engine running high speed on every down.
Well, if you're going to hold him on one play, then I wouldn't come back after him. Now, here's Seau. He's getting back to the outside, jumping back in and out. John L. Williams trying to block him. You didn't do that. Don't go down on the ground. You got to stay up in his face. Seau's out there to make the play for a 1-yard gain.
Junior Seau says, I want to be the best. And to be the best, you have to do it on every down.
And in practice.
Yeah, he loves to practice. Says he's an entertainer. He's playing in front of his people. They deserve big plays every time he can give it to them. He's from San Diego, went to Oceanside High School. Maguire hesitates and is swept under as George Thornton, number 96, who doesn't get a lot of sacks. That's his first of the year. Breaks down through a big tackle from Alabama.
The one thing that happens with Maguire makes the mistake. He's looking at one man, Lewis Clark, on the outside. He's going to look left. Watch him. He's looking left. He's looking left. He's looking at the entire time, not looking at anyone else. Doesn't know where really to where to look because he hasn't had the experience. But on the top side, Lewis Clark was double teamed. There was no place for him to go. And he only looked at one receiver and one only and got sacked.
Blaze Winter credited with the sack, not Thornton. Giving it to Winter here now with the rush on Maguire. He dumps it off to John L. Williams, who works hard but doesn't get much.
Junior Seau.
He's fired up. And so is this following here at Jack Murphy Stadium.
Well, first of all, it starts with Leslie O'Neal in Maguire's face. On the right of your screen, watch, you're going to see 91. There he is. He gets hammered, along with Mims is there. And then, watch Junior Seau, 55 on John L. I mean, look at this guy. We're seeing Rufus Porter on one side and Junior Seau on the other. Unbelievable.
Keeping the heat on, and the Seahawks are forced to punt. Ball hit downfield. The enemy will return it from his 28. The enemy breaks it to the 40-yard line, and there's a penalty marker down. Penalty marker down back at the line of scrimmage. We'll see if somebody got downfield early.
There's a penalty marker at the line of scrimmage, but there's also one up on the 46-yard line of San Diego. There's Bieniemy. There's blocking in the back.
We have 2 fouls on the receiving team. 86, holding, and there was another holding. Both of them will be enforced from the spot of the catch.
There's a holding and another holding, and one more. So there's a whole lot of holding.
Congratulations are given to Junior Seau. He gets him a lot from those coaches. With Paul Maguire, this is Don Criqui. Back in the press. There's the best seat in the house, Paul.
yeah, in the shade.
About to be alone. Here's a pitch out near side. Anthony Miller, and he's across the 25-yard line to the 27. Chargers. Big interception problem all season long. They've ridden themselves of it today as they Stan Humphries has been on the mark throwing the ball. He's now hit 9 of 17 throws for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns.
One thing Patrick Hunter better be aware of, or the corner on the other side, Harper, is when you start throwing little dink passes like that, the little hitches to Anthony Miller, then all of a sudden he is turned and gone. And that's what happened on the touchdown.
Bernstein, and the Seahawks were looking for him, the big back who averaged 8 yards a carry in the first half. Snapped by Cortez Kennedy, number 99.
And Tony Woods.
Washington now leading Phoenix 17-6. San Francisco not having an easy time against the underdog Rams up at Candlestick Park. Humphries, who played collegiately for Bill Arnsparger, the defensive coach at San Diego. For 1 year at LSU, then transferred to Northwest Louisiana. Downfield throw and picked and dropped by Dedrick Dodge. Big rush on Humphries. Rufus Porter got to him just as his arm was coming forward. Forced the errant throw that should have been an interception.
Swain is out there blocking Rufus Porter. Now look and see what happens. Humphreys gets so far back into the pocket that Porter can come around Swain and make the play. Edric Dodge, number 33, the ball hit him right in the hands and he dropped it.
Line drive punt, hit downfield. Chris Warren is back. John Kidd hits it down to the 25. Here's Warren. He'll go down to the 32-yard line of the Seahawks. A 50-yard punt and a 7-yard return. So with 9:54 to play in the third quarter, the Seahawks go back on offense where they've struggled all game long. Back at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium, a beautiful day, mid-80s, clear and sunny, and there's more football coming up next Sunday on NBC Sports, beginning with NFL Live at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. One of the feature games of the day, the Seahawks travel to Irving, Texas to take on the Dallas Cowboys. It's a doubleheader day, and the feature doubleheader game of the Bills and the Raiders at the Los Angeles Coliseum all next Sunday. Chargers have an off week. They draw a bye week next week as rolling out on the play, Dan Maguire. Downfield throw. Oh, strong of arm, but way too much on it, Paul.
Well, and if he throws the ball to be caught, it's going to be intercepted. Doug Thomas is there, but there were 3 Chargers around him. They rolled Maguire out to get him away from the rush. That's the smart part. But watch this. When he rolls out to the right, they just block everybody back to the inside, back into the left. But when Maguire throws, he's going to throw the ball to Doug Thomas. And look at the people that are around him.
What an arm.
Well, great arm. Bad judgment. You don't throw there. Find somebody where there's not a whole, a whole bunch of dark jerseys.
Always dangerous to roll and throw back the other way. Too many people can close on the ball, just as they did there. Here's Chris Warren. There's not much there, but a load of San Diego Chargers, led by Plummer 50 and Seau 55. Well, Gary Plummer is plugging the inside.
Yeah, well, you talked to Gary yesterday, you and I, and what an attitude this guy has. And you got Plummer and Seau, and they just went to the ball. 50 is Plummer, 55 is Seau. Is going to come in right behind him. Here they come. Plummer gets off the block. Look at Seau. I mean, they're fighting each other to get to the tackle.
Plummer comes out. Gets a little fuel for the tank. He's a nutrition major. Went to Cal Berkeley. Very particular about what he eats and doesn't eat. Much like Mr. Maguire.
Yeah. I'm particular what I drink and don't drink.
They're down at 13.
Timeout, Seattle. Number 1.
Plummer says to stay in the league, he's got to have his body, which he calls a machine, on the football field in the best shape it can be, so you've got to eat right. Gary Plummer, father of 4, says when he retires, he's going to be a Mr. Mom. He's going to let Mrs. Plummer go to work, renew her career, and he's going to stay home, cook, and do all those things.
Well, what is there to cook? They don't have any meat or anything. Heat up some vegetables. That's it.
He's pretty much into that vegetable diet. Maguire dumps it over the middle. Here comes John L. Williams ahead of steam. A first down and more. The big guy on a 3rd and 13 play. Busts ahead for a gain of 18 yards and a first down.
He busted ahead, all right. John L. Williams, he knows where the first down is. Watch this run.
Seahawk captain.
Watch the end of the run, Crick. Here he comes, and here comes the load.
Man. Sean Van Horst, number 25.
He's going to have a headache.
You don't hit Big John. He hits you in the open field.
Whoa.
Chargers with the ball out to their 45-yard line. Play fake, swing pass, good defense. Coming up to make the play was Stanley Richard. The sheriff of the University of Texas. Bert Grossman putting the rush on the quarterback, Dan Maguire.
They were going to run a bootleg back to the outside. Bert Grossman, number 92, did not take the fake. He was right there in Maguire's face. He throws the ball out to John L., but Stanley Richard was right there to make the tackle. The pass was already completed. Make sure they don't get any yardage afterwards. John L. Williams did not.
Dan Maguire now, Paul, has completed 5 passes, and all have been to John L. Williams. So the only guy he can find open is somebody coming out of the backfield, at least so far. And intercepted twice. Here's a throw. It's ruled that Lewis Clark caught the ball out of bounds. Covered by 22, Gil Bird.
All right, we got to, you know, you look at the protection that Maguire has on this particular play. I know they've been getting to him. Watch this offensive line go to work down. Here he is back in protection. Look at, Beazle moves over to help out. He had plenty of protection. He could have looked anywhere he wanted to look. That is excellent blocking by the offensive line. But they have not been doing that every play.
Third down now arises for the Seahawks. They trail in the game 17-3. Score at halftime. Maguire tripped on one of his blockers, stumbled on the infield, and he goes down back at the 36-yard line. Chris Mims, the rookie #1 draft choice of the Chargers, was putting pressure on number 94, but he might have tripped over James Jones.
Well, when he comes out, Junior Seau is just flying up in the middle, and he creates havoc. You're going to see right here when he goes out, he does trip over his own man. It is Jones. Junior Seau was putting some heat on up the middle, but when he comes out, watch this. His knee of Jones hits the foot of Maguire. No chance.
Back to live action. A tremendous punt downfield by Tootin. Here's the enemy. Crosses 10 and out to the 16-yard line. Again, return of 11 yards. A 57-yard punt by Rick Tootin. For the Chargers with a 14-point lead, gets the ball back. Back at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium, Chargers up over the Seahawks 17-3. Don Criqui with Paul Maguire. 5th play of this game, maybe the deciding play of the game. That was the 67-yard touchdown pass going from the Seahawks for Chargers quarterback all the way down to Anthony Miller. And Paul, that gave him a 7-0 lead, and that's been the most decisive points of the game.
Isn't it amazing what Bobby Ross told us yesterday? He said if we can score 7 points at the beginning of the game, take control, that may be the turning point in the ball game, and so far it looks that way.
Humphreys, who had not been able to direct his team to a touchdown in 10 previous quarters, and they'd not scored any points in 6 previous quarters, a game and a half. He got a field goal against the Steelers. All of a sudden he throws for 2 first-half touchdowns, and that's been the difference in the game. That 67-yarder. And Bobby Ross was looking for a big play early that would score 7. San Francisco, having led the LA Rams 7-0, now finds themselves trailing the Rams 17-10.
Well, the Chargers' keys to the game, we talked about that. 7 points, they already got that. Special teams have been doing very well. To minimize mistakes on third down, they look like something that they really have to work on. They have not corrected that problem.
Humphreys, they give him time. He swings it out to Rod Bernstein. He's out to the 22-yard line. Second down play, gain of only about 3 yards. Bring up third and about 5. Cortez Kennedy's coming hard every down. Number 99 for the Hawks.
He's coming hard. I mean, the defense is playing extremely well. Number 99 is Cortez Kennedy. Being blocked at the line of scrimmage. Moulton's there, number 77. But watch this. He sees the play. He makes the reaction back to the play. Porter and Kennedy. I mean, that's hustle.
See where he was chosen in the draft. Jeff George, the number 1 pick. Blair Thomas has done nothing for the Jets, the number 2 pick, a running back out of Penn State. Humphreys under the gun. Rufus Porter popped him just as he released it. It came in low, and so it's 3 downs and out for the Chargers. Seahawks could get good field position off the punt.
Well, Joe Nash is limping off the field. He's going to be all right. But Rufus Porter, I mean, you talk about in your face. This guy is just jumping over people. He's doing on the Seattle defensive side of the ball what Junior Seau is doing on the other side. That man right there, ladies and gentlemen, can't give any more than he's giving.
Every down, all he's got. And that defensive stop by the Seahawks defense, they went for the punt block and almost got to it. On hit downfield, Warren will fair catch the ball at his 36-yard line. Gene Robinson, who was the defensive MVP, the free agent from Colgate, watch him come flying up the middle and almost get it. Just gets it away as Robinson almost had it. Seahawks have the ball when we come back. Back at San Diego, Seahawks after a defensive stop. 3 downs and out for the Chargers offense, and now the Seahawks take over the ball. Big Dan Maguire trying to get the offense going. Kelly Stauffer out of the game. banged up a bit earlier. Suffered an injury to his left shoulder, not his throwing shoulder. First down call. Good run. Warren breaks it. He could go. Chris Warren's knocked down inside the 20 and down to the 13-yard line on the play of the game for the Seahawks. Stanley Richards saved the touchdown.
Boy, he sure did. And Chris Warren does a lot of this on his own. They just, right at the point of attack, just a straight-ahead handoff. Watch the play to the right side of the offensive line. Here's Chris Warren. He breaks 1, 2, 3, 4. That's Blaylock missing. And then Richards saves the touchdown. What a great run. And this is what this offense needs. Remember, we did a game, Seattle-Cincinnati, when the offense gave up 2 touchdowns to Cincinnati's defense. This offense has got to put some points on the board because the defense is playing extremely well.
Good point. This is the tough part for Seattle in that infamous red zone inside the 20 of the opponent. Back to Chris Warren, but the Chargers are reading 42 all the way. Gary Plummer, first tackler, inside backer number 50.
Now, one of the big problems you have now as the head coach, Tom Flores, looking at Dan Maguire. And believe me, I'm not taking anything away from the young man. It's the fact that he has not played that much.
That's right.
And you don't want to make a mistake down here. You're down by 14 points. You don't need 3. You need 7 to get back into the ball game. Now, you're going to let him throw the ball, or you're going to try to do it on the run. When you do it on the run, look at where San Diego's defense are. They've got 8 guys from tackle to tackle.
Dan Maguire had his greatest moments as a football player in this stadium for San Diego State. He knows these end zones. We'll see if he can complete it there. Running out of time, he fires it out to Chris Warren. And tacklers are there. Junior Seau with a tackle for a loss on second down.
He had Rob Thomas wide open in the end zone, and again, it's easy for us up here on his right. He's going to get flushed out. He's looking directly to his left. He wants to throw over there, but he can't get anyone open. Ron Heller, the tight end. But way down in the corner, you could see just feet way down there, was Rob Thomas, who was open. That's twice he's had receivers open in the corner of the end zone and has not been able to find them. Man, it's easy for us saying because he's running for his life, and we're up here watching it.
Mark and his wife Dana could turn out some football players. Dana's dad plays for the Green Bay Packers. Dan's wife, Dana, as dropping back now on third down. A throw in the flat by Dan Maguire is completed to tight end Ron Heller. Delton Hall, number 36, an extra defensive back for the Chargers, made the stop. So the big play from Chris Warren gets them down close, but again, they're not able to capitalize in the red zone for 6. So Coach Flores has to send out his field goal unit, his team trailing 17-3.
And you say, why that? You're down by 14 points? Well, there's getting on 220 in the third quarter. But again, you're going to need a field goal to win the ball game. If you can score 2 touchdowns, you've gone this far. Reward your offense by putting some points on the board.
John Casey drives it up and through. He's now 5 for 6 kicking field goals this season, and he inches the Seahawks a bit closer. They're now down 17-6. Tonight on NBC, it's an all-new Secret Service based on the actual case of a female undercover agent who's kidnapped. Find out how the Secret Service went to free her. Then an all-new eyewitness video. See incredible footage of firefighters inside a blazing inferno. Followed by the comedy movie premiere of My Blue Heaven starring Steve Martin. That's all tonight on NBC.
Did you see that movie, My Blue Heaven?
Not yet.
It's really funny. I mean, Steve Martin. Of course, I love him anyway. But I mean, that is a great movie. Now, can the defense hold one more time?
Bobby Ross looking for a little of that blue heaven under these Southern California skies as he's finally getting some offense. Prior to this game, his team having gone 10 straight quarters, 2.5 games without a touchdown, 6 straight quarters without any points. And on the 5th play of the game, his quarterback hits the deep ball. Stan Humphries to Anthony Miller for 67 yards and the touchdown, which is still the difference in this game, although the Chargers have extended that lead, now 17-6. Kickoff down to Nate Lewis at the 1. It's a tough team to run it back on, but Nate finds his way out to to the 22-yard line. Chargers special teams have been a major problem. They've had breakdowns on special teams. They outplayed Kansas City in the opening game. They gave up a punt return for a touchdown in that game. Held the Chiefs to just 61 yards rushing in the game. Humphries on the sideline now, bringing the offense out. Swain and Goaz are the tackles. Moten and Richards the guards. Courtney Hall down over the ball at center. To the run. To Ronnie Harmon. Looking for blockers. He gets to the 25, and that was a workload to get there. Just 2 yards before Blackman led the tacklers for the Seahawks.
You know, when you watch a play like this when Blackman makes the play, but Rufus Porter, I mean, I guess every play you can say something about him or Junior Seau on the other side. But Rufus Porter would not allow Harmon to get to the outside. He had to cut back inside. And when that happens, Blackman's there to make the play. Catlin.
The enemy now in the backfield, as you see the second half yardage production. Seattle getting a lot more offense. San Diego virtually none.
Well, turnaround, huh?
Indeed. 1:08 to play in the third quarter. Quick out. Well thrown ball by Humphries. Hard hit put on by left corner Dwayne over.
Do that. See that? Let me tell you something. You talk about a stupid mistake. The man is stopped, Anthony Miller, and then Dwayne Harper has to come up, and right at the end, there's no place to go. It's over with. You're struggling. Watch this. It's over with. It's over. Now just turn him and throw him? No, that's wrong.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, first down.
I mean, you'd have had San Diego in a 3rd down and 3 situation. Your defense is rising to the occasion, and now you give them a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down. That's dumb.
Coach Catlin not pleased. They've been stopping San Diego here in the third quarter, but they get a first down on the penalty. So the mistakes that have really troubled both teams early in this season mount for the Seahawks. A 17-6 San Diego lead. In the third quarter at Denver, Chiefs continue to lead the Broncos 13-6. Important AFC West game. Ronnie Harmon runs. Seahawks are there to get him. Wooden, the left linebacker, led the tacklers.
You can't say enough about these two defenses, and we started out at the beginning of this game talking about San Diego being number 4 in the NFL and Seattle being number 10, and they are rising to the occasion. We're coming down to that will probably be the last play in the third quarter. It's going to be a defensive fourth quarter.
Two of the NFL's best defenses matched, despite the fact that between them prior to today they've only won 1 game. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
With sports tonight on King 5 News.
85 and sunny at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. Don Criqui with Paul Maguire as we are ready now to start the fourth quarter. The San Diego Chargers, winless so far this season under their new coach Bobby Ross, holding to a 17-6 lead over Tom Flores and the Seattle Seahawks. Chargers have the ball at their 46-yard line. Humphries at quarterback has been very effective, hasn't turned it over, has thrown for 2 touchdowns. He makes the first down connection with number 89. Derek Walker is tight end. Wooden on the tackle, but that advances the ball down to the 40-yard line of the Seahawks.
That was his first reception, Derek Walker, the first time that I believe Stan Humphries has thrown the ball to him today.
It's really interesting, Paul, to hear Humphries talk about the work ethic of the Washington Redskins, where he came in a trade after the starter, John Freeze, was hurt. He said they really win during the week. You have to see their practices, how intense they are, to realize what goes into them, and they carry it over to Sunday. They're winning easily again today are the Redskins, the defending Super Bowl champions.
And off to Ronnie Harmon.
Turnovers loom large in this game through 3 quarters of play as we look at the stats. 2 turnovers for the Seahawks, none at all for the Chargers, who had led the NFL prior to today with 11 interceptions given up.
And a result of 7 points. But the one thing that's up there that has really been telling in this ball game are penalties. where they have come. Not so many of them, but where the penalties have come. Different situations when the Chargers, remember in the first half they were driving, the penalties took them out of driving, Keys to the Seahawks. The big play wins games. Generate offense in both halves. Now they're trying to do it some in the second half in turnovers, which they had 2, one for a touchdown. I mean, not for a touchdown, but one that resulted in 7 points.
Terry Wood, number 90, coming on a linebacker blitz, so Humphries had to release the ball quickly, had too much on it for Harmon. Marty Schottenheimer, the Kansas City coach, when we were with him a couple of weeks ago, he was talking about nuisance penalties, those little 5-yarders for illegal motion. But he said what they do to your team is they kill a drive, and that can lose a game. One nuisance penalty.
It really can, and especially, I'm going to repeat myself in the first half, especially when you have a team, and both of these teams, struggling on offense.
Humphrey hit 8 of his first 9 passes. Seahawks have tightened up on him since then. Here comes the rush. Humphrey gets away. He's got room to run.
Oh, go down.
Thunderous hit. Eugene Robinson, who is a grand slam hitter from that free safety position. He puts the clean shot on Humphrey. Leo Goaz is also down. Humphrey bounces right up.
Boy, Eugene Robinson knew that he had Humphries. He's not going down. Humphries is looking at the yard mark. He's trying to get to the first down. It is now 4th down. But Eugene Robinson came up and just nailed him. Here it goes. The rush is on. Rufus Porter and company go by. Here's Humphries. He's looking at the play. Bam! Number 41 Robinson is there. No first down.
And John Carney is getting set to come out for the Chargers to try a 51-yard field goal.
Art historians will tell you.
Stan Humphries, the Chargers quarterback, linebacker size. He admits to 235. He could be a little north of that.
Admits.
6'2". He said he was 6'2", 235 when he was a junior in high school. Now, 51-yard field goal attempt by John Carney. He hit from 49 earlier. He spins it up. Does it have enough? It does not. Carney beat the Seahawks a year ago in this stadium with a 54-yard field goal. So again, the Seahawk defense gets them out of the jam and away without points given up. Key play of the game. Second quarter.
Anthony Miller, this touchdown, and when you look at it, here's the catch, and the ball, he's bringing it down. Look at the ball underneath. The ball is on the ground. There is the best look at it, and that's a look that they would have seen. They would have overruled us. This game would have been 10-6.
But it is 17-6 Chargers. Seattle with the ball. Maguire hit 7 of 12 passes, but for only 40 yards, 2 interceptions. Here's a drop by Lewis Clark. A beautifully thrown ball by Maguire. Lewis Clark, he was going right in front of the San Diego bench. I don't know if somebody took his attention off the ball.
Doug Thomas had double coverage downfield. They brought Clark in motion, and he's upset with himself. And the quarterback, he can't catch it. All he can do is throw it. Maguire had the ball right on target.
Perfect.
It really was perfect. It would have been, I think Clark would have gone out of bounds because he was going too fast to stop. But it would have been about a 16-yard gain, and they would have been in San Diego territory. Now they got 2nd and 10.
Clark had a touchdown reception a week ago in the 2-point loss to Miami. And Maguire fires it right back in, goes right back to Clark, and he makes sure this time it's a first down for the Seahawks at their 47-yard line.
Don't you like that, Crick? When your guy drops a ball, a key play for you, he drops the ball, you're struggling on offense, and you come right back to the guy, knowing that he's going to try to get open, and he's looking at him all the way. Here he comes. Here's Clark. Puts this ball right on target. Clark catches it, first down. Nice play. That takes courage, friends, to do that.
Big drive for the Seahawks with 12:06 to play. They're down by 11 points. Pass blocking is there. Now it runs out. Leslie O'Neal, number 91, a 2-time Pro Bowl player.
Well, he got away from Ray Roberts, number 73. And Maguire, 2 times now he's had some time to throw the ball back there. And you can't get accustomed to that all the time. Leslie O'Neal on Ray Roberts on the outside. Watch this. He pushes him to his right, goes back inside. Now there's a time when a tackle, if he can get his hands on him, is a good time to take a holding penalty because you can save your quarterback.
On the the other side, the Charger blockers have held Cortez Kennedy without a sack. He came in with 4.5 sacks for the Seahawks in the first 4 games. 2nd and 19 for Dan Maguire and the Seahawks. Screen, Chris Warren, tacklers there. Warren breaks one, gets to the 41. Gain of only 3 yards.
Nice play by Gil Bird, and he came up, and he's getting up slowly. Excuse me, that's not Gil Bird getting up slowly. It's George Thornton that's getting up slowly. Gil Bird was there, and I said something earlier in the game about Bird not making a tackle on Lewis Clark and wrapping his arms around him. He does have a cast on his hand, and it is kind of difficult to make that tackle. That time he just put his head in there. There's the thumb. He'll have that off when they play Denver because he's intercepted Elway more than anybody.
7 times. Intercepted more passes over the last 4 years than any player in the NFL also. 27 INTs coming into this year. Here's a pass across the field to John L. Williams. Tony Blaylock's not buying. He stays home, holds his ground, makes the stop. Hawks have to punt it back to the Chargers.
Boy, that is solid defense because Blaylock, you can be looking around. You see the quarterback roaming to the other side. Blaylock stays at home. You see this rollout. Grossman, number 92, is coming up. But this throw back to this side, Blaylock makes the play. Watch this. He is right there. He gets himself set. He's squared up to the receiver, John L. Williams, and makes the play. That's outstanding defense.
Another well-hit ball by Seattle punter Rick Tootin, driving the enemy back to his 9. He played for a national championship team at Colorado, Eric Bieniemy, and he weaves his way back to the 20-yard line. Next Saturday on NBC Sports World, Belmont Park hosts the Breeders' Cup Preview. 1991 Kentucky Derby winner Strike the Gold and 92 Belmont Stakes winner AP Indy are just 2 of the many horses that will be running in this final tune-up before racing's championship day, the Breeders' Cup. That's all next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time on NBC.
Goaz is back in the game. He just had leg cramps. He's the man that went off the last time the Chargers had the ball, but he is back into the ball game. He is the right offensive tackle, number 67.
Power set, but Humphries comes out throwing and drills it out to Anthony Miller. He's been quiet for a while after that sensational start. This time he spins ahead, 11 yards and a first down. Anthony Miller with more nice numbers today.
11 yards.
Anthony Miller played at Tennessee, one of the many All-Americans to come out of there. Not big at 5'11", 180 pounds, but he's today has caught 8 passes for 130 yards, 2 for touchdowns. 5th play of the game, he combined with Humphries on a 67-yard scoring play.
Boy, you've got Rod Bernstein in that backfield. They're going with 3 tight ends in the game right now. You got to believe they're going to be running the football.
They are. Bernstein caught in the backfield. Terry Wooden, who keeps getting better. This is a guy who came back from major knee surgery, a 2nd-round draft choice out of Syracuse, and he is really becoming one of the better outside linebackers in the conference.
This is not blamed on the infield either. Watch Wooden. He is right there. He just cuts the legs out. He actually trips up. Bernstein is trying to cut back. He just tripped him up. Guess who else was there? There's a guy we're talking about all day long is Robert Blackman. I mean, this young man has been all over the field. And he's a strong safety. Well, when he got the 3 tight ends in there, he's going to be up close to the ball. And there he is. He's up near the line of scrimmage.
Chargers trying to protect their lead and run the clock. It shows 8:40 to play in the game. Seahawks need 2 touchdowns to win it. So they need to get it back. Here's another terrific throw. And again, it is Anthony Miller turning out on cornerback Dwayne Harper, as Miller back in all-pro form today. Beautiful combination here.
Anthony Miller, watch where this ball is thrown, to the outside. There's just no chance for Harper, number 29, to get there. Anthony Miller is right on target. The ball is on target, and they got 3rd down and about 3.
3rd down and 3 it is on the 38-yard line. 8:20 to play in the game. 17-6. Chargers with the ball and the 11-point lead. Long ball, Anthony Miller. He
doesn't catch it.
Almost had it.
Dwayne Harper Harper was with him, and this ball was put in the only place he could catch it because he had excellent coverage by number 29, Dwayne Harper. Anthony Miller, it looks like he's going to get it. He gets one hand on the ball as he's bringing it in. He's going down. But the man that really helps out is Harper because he gets his arm in there. The ball comes out. No catch.
So the Seahawks, after giving one first down up on this series, hold again and force a San Diego punt, a line drive punt. Warren goes back and fair catches it at his 15-yard line. Raiders have now gone in front of the New York Giants after trailing the Giants 10-0. The Raiders lead 13-10. 7:15 to play in that game. So the Seahawks needing big passing plays to get back in it, come out on offense. We're back with 7:50 to go. Chargers with the 4th best defense in the NFL, holding off the Seahawks, allowing no touchdowns yet today. Matty Ross looking for his first win as an NFL head coach. Tom Flores looking for the Seahawks to hit the deep pass. They need 2 touchdowns to win it. Maguire's in for the injured Kelly Stauffer at quarterback. Here's a throw and a catch to John L. Williams. Penalty marker in. Stauffer, to update you on, if you hadn't heard, went out with a bruised left shoulder, not his throwing shoulder. He's not returned. Holding call against Seattle.
I don't know if it was Grant Fiesel or not because he was sitting way on the outside and the flag was thrown in his direction. We'll find out. But, you know, when you look at the frustration on Tom Flores' face, I mean, you're struggling like crazy. And here's these penalties. They're not popping up. They're happening.
Holding. 76, offense, still first down.
I'm sorry, wasn't you, it's Hitchcock, Bill Hitchcock, who has started for the injured Ronnie Lee.
He talked about wanting offense for 2 halves. He hadn't gotten it much here in the second half, just a field goal.
Look at this. Well, at least they're getting more than 3 plays in a drive, but they're not getting any points on the board. 1 field goal.
Chargers have been stymied by the Seattle defense also. Defenses have taken over here in the second half. Warren turns wide, gets out of bounds for little or no gain. The odds, as you know, Paul Maguire, are overwhelming against the offense getting a first down after a holding call. It starts them out 1st and 20.
I know, and especially when an offense is struggling. Again, let's go back to the beginning of this football game. Kelly Stauffer going into this game, the 5th game of the season, with 5 different offenses. I mean, it is absolutely incredible to think about the injuries on this football team. And here, look at the Chargers in the second half. Now the defense, 10th best defense in the league. Look at this job they've done. Punt, missed field goal, punt. That's good defense.
This Charger D, though, so tough to move on. Maguire looks at the big rush, dumps it over the middle. He gets it to John L. Williams, breaks a tackle, and Seau runs him down at the 20. That brings up 3rd and about 7 yards.
You know, that's what you're talking about. The holding play on first down. It was 1st and 10. They have already picked up 15 yards, which they normally would have had a first down. It is now 3rd and about 6. I mean, it kills you.
Tom Flores, who led the NFL one year, or the AFL at that time, in passing percentage and fewest interceptions, hoping that Maguire's not guilty of a 3rd INT, but he knows his young quarterback has to keep throwing. 3rd down. Here comes the rush. He gets it away. Leslie O'Neal forced that errant throw. He got to Maguire just to release the ball.
Leslie O'Neal beats 2 people. First of all, he beats Ray Roberts. And then James Jones, number 30, comes over to block. Right of your screen. Watch this. See 30 Jones? He's supposed to get a piece of Leslie O'Neal. Leslie O'Neal gets a piece of Kelly, or of Dan Maguire. And here it comes. Leslie O'Neal on the right. Roberts, he's by him. Jones, you've got to step up and take a piece of him. Leslie O'Neal's there. Don't blame the quarterback, folks.
Tootin has punted well all day and does again as he booms the ball all the way down to the 30-yard line. The enemy working hard to get 3 yards. Another 50-yard punt. That's in the line of scrimmage. He hit 65 yards in the air.
Now, the last time the Chargers got the ball here, they came out and they threw the ball a couple of times. You got Rod Bernstein in that backfield that's averaging better than 6 yards a carry.
50-yard punt, but nothing like Paul Maguire of yesteryear for the Chargers.
That's right. Don't you ever forget it.
Longest punt, 82 yards.
Strong. No wind at all. Actually, I kicked that against the wind.
Hurricane Camille at his back.
Huh? I was kicking into the wind. You're not listening to me.
That was the day that the people in San Diego came out to get their morning paper. Instead of the Union, they found it was the Sacramento Bee. That's how strong the wind was.
Ooh.
Washington in a battle with Phoenix right now. Phoenix down 24-0, comes back to within 4. Look at this, free ball.
It is. San Diego got it back. Rod Bernstein picked up about 12 yards, and then Seattle strips the ball.
Nate Lewis might have been the guy that scooped it up, number 81. Nate getting the job done downfield. Little guy from Oregon's Tech.
I said to give the ball to Rod Bernstein. Well, take a look at it here. Now the ball's being pulled out by Eugene Robinson.
I tell you, he made no secret about it.
Ripped the ball out, and then they don't get the ball back. Lewis gets it. I mean, that's a heartbreaker in itself. This defense, they gave up 11 yards but stole the ball and didn't get it. We're right back to 82. It's no secret.
Coach Ross with his team first and 10 and holding an 11-point lead. Bernstein runs hard as the Chargers move the clock. You see the Rams in San Francisco tied up. Flipper Anderson a 9-yard touchdown catch. Big receiver in this game has been Anthony Miller of the Chargers. 8 catches for way over 130 yards, 138 yards. His career high in the game is 9 receptions.
Well, the other game in this division, Kansas City 19-6 with 5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter against Denver. Nick Lowry has kicked 4 field goals, 44, 36, 26, and 33.
Nick the kick. Bernstein has run it 14 times for 68 yards. He could be running it right now.
Run.
Bernstein. Down to the 41-yard line of the Seahawks, and the clock continues to tick away. Precious time for Seattle. 4:20 to play and running. This stadium, San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium, holds 70,000, but today official count was 36,000. This team hasn't won and the people haven't been showing.
36,000 and a skunk.
Yeah, there's this.
Oh, boy, was he a beauty.
The film man, Mr. Leff, told me that actually there's some skunks living in a warehouse part of the stadium. If you don't bother them, they won't bother you. But one got out today, didn't realize it was game day. Long ball, Nate Lewis. Oh, he lost it. It was almost the play of the game.
There is a flag on the play, though.
What a throw.
We have a legal motion by the Chargers. It wouldn't have made any difference, Nate. Don't feel bad. I mean, Humphreys aired this baby out. Look at this. Over his shoulder. That's Harper downfield. Gets him in the hands. Harper's the man that strips the ball away. Nate Lewis never had total control. Again, it would have come back anyway because there was a legal motion. It's refused. The Chargers will punt again.
So close.
Yet so far away.
And so hard to move against this Charger defense for a touchdown. Seattle will try again. A high punt. Nicely done by Kidd. Takes a hop. It'll be down at the 4-yard line.
Is now by number 34,
Steve Hendrickson. Downfield on special teams.
Hendrickson plays everything. He plays H-back, he plays running back, he plays linebacker, he plays on all the special teams.
Did you see what he just did? He took the ball. They moved the ball almost to the 5-yard line. Steve Hendrickson took the ball and put it down on the 2. He actually picked it up and set it on the 2. He said, hey,
he thought it was.
Yeah, that's where I got it, right here.
Thought it was a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
Next Sunday, the Seahawks head on to Dallas. Take on those Cowboys at Irving, Texas. It's a doubleheader day on NBC Sports. Buffalo and the Raiders, the second game. And it all begins with NFL Live at 9:30 Pacific time. Maguire up against it now. 96 yards from the end zone. He looks to get room to operate. Goes to Chris Warren on the run. Seahawks with 92 yards rushing now. San Diego has only 81 yards rushing. Seattle has only 95 yards passing.
You know, it really is amazing, but let's put this into perspective. As far as throwing the football, they've really only thrown the ball to one man, Clark, all day long. And when you're only throwing to one guy, you know they're doubling up over there.
Except for those dump offs to Williams,
yeah.
They haven't gone for any much yardage. Did break ahead for a first down. Here comes the heat. There's the throw. Connection, but underneath the zone, and Plummer makes the stop. On 2nd down and 6, there's a gain of about 3 yards.
He throws to Clark again, and again, what you're doing is you're seeing Dan Maguire go back, and the only guy he's looking at on the football field is Clark, number 84. Now, the reason, you know, say when he throws it to John L. or whomever coming out of the backfield, that's on a dump pattern afterwards. But the main man, his main receiver, is Clark. I mean, look at, he's 11 out of 15, 56 yards. That's 5 yards a throw.
Hawks need 2 touchdowns, Paul. They don't seem in any hurry to get snaps off. This will be the final play before the 2-minute warning. Incomplete. Lewis Clark, intended receiver. Tony Blaylock defending. 2-minute warning, and Rick Tootin comes out once again to punt it away for the Seahawks. With Paul Maguire, this is Don Criqui back at San Diego. The Seattle Seahawks down by a 17-6 count with 1:59 to play in the game. Have the ball, 4th down coming up. What are they doing here, Paul? A lot of people, Tootin's going off. They're going to go for it. I guess they figure this tries to run the clock out on him.
Well, and I don't think the Chargers, if they do stop him, will try to do anything, you know, to embarrass him either. I mean, what are you going to do?
You've got to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, you need 2 touchdowns. Not a field goal and a touchdown. You need 2 touchdowns.
So big Dan Maguire comes out, strong of arm, looking for a 3-yard gain to get a first down.
You only got about 8 seconds, 7 seconds to get this play off. Now you're in a 4th down situation. You have to rush.
They just get it up. They go to Chris Warren. He turns it up, and he gets the first down.
Boy, do you know, you want to know something. John L. Williams got a tremendous block on Junior Seau. Number 32 just took Junior Seau and put him on the ground. It is absolutely beautiful.
Seau was slow getting up.
Watch left of your screen on the top. See 32? Watch this block. Here's where the first down is made. Bam! Down goes Junior Seau. Chris Warren gets the first down. That's beautiful.
Final score, San Francisco has defeated the Rams 27-24. Mike Kofer's field goal with a second left. One is for the 49ers. Maguire lets it fly. It hangs. Everybody's got a chance, and the Chargers have it. Looked like Donald Frank might have gotten it. Number 27 appeared to be the guy that came down with the ball. Donald Frank. So it's a lights-out play, a 3rd interception of Maguire. The 2 of them were on desperation heaves, one at the end of the half, and this one when they had to make something big happen and didn't have much time to do it.
It took Maguire a long time to unload this ball. Donald Frank is right there playing perfect position. The ball was thrown to Doug Thomas. He had no chance at it. Franks had a better chance at it.
Yeah, he really played it well and held on.
Yeah. But Maguire just, I mean, it hesitated and threw the ball straight up in the air. It looked more like a punt. Or it looked like that Hail Mary at the end of the game. The ball was thrown straight up in the air.
Seahawks missing so many of their weapons. 2 starting wideouts, Brian Blades and Tommy Kane out. Starting tight end, Paul Green is out of this game. He suffered a shoulder injury last week. And the Chargers go to the run into Bernstein. Seattle quickly calls a timeout with 1:40 to play. They have 2 timeouts left.
Number 2.
Tyrone Rogers in the game. He made the tackle, number 91.
The NFL Live post-game report is coming up, brought to you by Old Spice. Bob Costas, Will McDonough, Bill Parcells analyzed the day. The stunning score of the day came at Buffalo, where the Bills, who'd won their last 2 games by a combined score of like 80-7, were blasted by their arch rivals, the Miami Dolphins. 37-10, I think it was, wasn't it?
It was ugly. No,
it was too easy for the Bills the last couple of weeks. We saw them blow away New England 41-7. And Sunday night before that, they'd beaten the Colts 38-0.
You know, we saw the Maguire stats, and Stan Humphrey said something to you yesterday about interceptions. Now, on those 3 interceptions for Maguire, one was at the end of the half, the Hail Mary, throwing the ball up in the air, hoping something happened. That's what Stan Humphrey said to you. I may have 8 interceptions, but there's about 5 or 6 of those guys that were at the end of the half and the end of the game.
Desperation throws. Bernstein runs. Seahawks quickly call their second timeout. They have 1 left, and the clock shows 1:32 to play.
Seattle, number 3.
That's their last timeout. They already had 1 taken earlier, Crick, and that is their final timeout. The Chargers, all they have to do basically is run 1 more play.
The Old Spice NFL Live post-game report with Bob Costas and Bill Parcells will be coming up in a minute and a half or so as Bobby Ross and his Chargers close in on their first victory as a tandem. Might be many more. The Arnsparger back, Kansas City dominating the Broncos today at Denver. Kansas City came in here and rushed for a total of 61 yards on opening day. You just can't run on these guys.
No, we were sitting there talking the other night about the San Diego defensive team, and people are really discouraged in this town. I asked, I bet 50 people. I've been here since Wednesday talking about the game, and they said, what game? Do we have a team? You know, they're 0-4 going in here. But can you imagine this defense that they have now in the offense with Faust was here? Oh, man. I mean, they were putting 50 points on the board, and with this defense.
Such a contrast to Seattle, where there's 77,000 plus at every game. It's not a matchup for first place. It is a matchup of 2 of the nicest cities in the country.
I'll tell you, defensively, these 2 teams may not get to the playoffs, but I can guarantee you something. They're going to hurt a couple of teams that are on their way to the playoffs.
This guy's going to win some games this year. So will Coach Flores. Skins are on the wall for him. He has coached 2 Super Bowl winners, Tom Flores. Bobby Ross, I think, was wondering if he. I remember Bill Walsh saying, you lose 2 games in a row in the NFL and you swear you're never going to win another game. It's that bad. You have to live from week to week. And the executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. The coordinating producer of NBC's football is John Faratzis. This game has been produced by Glenn Adamo. Directed by John Gilmartin. Associate Director.
Offense. Still 4th down.
Associate Director Amy Smolens. Production Associate Molly Solomon. We thank them all. Stage Manager Francesca Bellini. John Kidd in to punt now. Hawks will get another crack at it. 40 seconds to go in the game. 17-6. San Diego, only 3 points scored in the second half. That a field goal by the Seahawks. These punters are both Pro Bowl quality. Warren watches it hop into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. And the Seahawks, needing 2 touchdowns, have only 29 seconds on the clock. A 60-yard punt into the end zone by John Kidd, the former Buffalo Bill.
And no timeouts.
What's the key, Paul? Now, you led the AFL many years punting. The key to really getting those high spirals?
Time. Strong leg. Really, to get the ball high, to keep it high, is to hold the ball a little higher. And when you're kicking against the wind, you hold the ball lower. But the most important, I tell you, to a punter, and I had one of the best, and the guy by the name of Al B. Miller had 1 bad snap in 7 years, is that center getting the ball back to give you time.
On the run, Dan Maguire.
Look upfield, Dan.
They bring him down inbounds with 19 seconds to go in the game. Seahawks out of timeout, so they can only hurry into formation. They cannot win the game.
They got Seattle. I'll tell you, the biggest problem on this play was that Doug Thomas, number 85, never got back. He never got back on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Denver's just scored with 1:55 remaining in the 4th quarter against Kansas City. Denver's first touchdown in 13 quarters. Wow. John Elway to Mark Jackson.
Raiders have won a game. Just win one, baby, and they did. Coming from 10 points behind, they beat the Giants 13-10.
85 offense. Still 1st down.
Doug Thomas, the second-year receiver, was offside, so the ball is set back to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, he couldn't get back. He was way downfield. But watching Dan Maguire run that last play, he was looking back behind him. He better look up front, look forward.
Thanks to our statistician, Jan Chapman Sr., and our spotters, Jan Chapman Jr. and Steve Marshall. Chapman's up here getting the job done. Gotta have those great people in the booth. Some of the best are in Seattle that Gary Wright gets for us.
That's right. Well, National Football League, they do a good job for us. Tom Flores, it's like mirrors with him. I mean, where do you go? You're trying to find enough people on offense.
We have a conserving time foul on the offense.
Get the game over with.
There are no timeouts left. We will have a 10-second runoff. The game is over.
There you go. You heard me. Agony no longer prolonged as Coach Flores. There's Stan Humphries using that strong arm, firing it up into the stands.
Missed another receiver.
With a fantastic game for San Diego. 2 touchdown receptions, although one was very questionable whether or not Anthony really had it. Stan Humphries delivering the big game for Bobby Ross. His first NFL victory as Humphries delivers the ball on target, throws for 2 touchdowns, throws for no interceptions.
You know, it's one of those weeks, too, and when you talk to the coaches, we talked to Bobby Ross, said this is the best week of practice we have had here in San Diego. They're starting to understand what I want to try to accomplish, and they got to win.
Don't forget tonight on NBC, Secret Service at 7, eyewitness video, My Blue Heaven. The final score, the San Diego Chargers prevail over the Seattle Seahawks 17-6. Each team now at 1 victory. Anthony Miller, with one of his finest days of his career in junior Seau 55, was sensational also on defense for this strong Charger team. Now for Paul Maguire, this is Don Criqui. Glad you could be with us from San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. Good night, everyone.